All right, we're going to try this again and see. David should come back in. Let's get going. Am I better, David?
Better. You're better now. And it will happen once we go live. Let's see.
Really? Well, we are
Perfect.
live.
There we go. No more fuzzy. Fuzzy, wuzzy, was a bear.
Live TV is an interesting concept. I'm telling you, you have to kind of figure it out, navigate through all of it. They'll find us. They'll come back and find us. So
Yes.
David, I really wanted us to have a conversation about what is going on right now around us, and I don't know where to start. Where do you want to start?
Well, I think it's important to talk about how successful FIFA matches have been in the city of Philadelphia and the boost of revenue for the city. I think it's a really great win for the city, for this administration, for the people of Philadelphia to sort of see this. A very peaceful, very enthusiastic group of internationals have come to the birthplace of the city of Philadelphia, of this nation, and have really showed the world what Philadelphia looks like. And I'm hearing a lot of responses from people who said, I never knew that Philadelphia was like this, right? Had this not been an opportunity to come to the city, I probably wouldn't have. So I think that there's an energy which is palpable that we need to carry forward in the way that we think about who we are today, but also in our world class status as a city, as a there's a word I'm thinking of. Sovereign city. There's another word I'm thinking of. Anyway, but it's really important that we as Philadelphia remember who we are and project that to the masses around the globe. When I came back in from London, I landed in New York City, and there was a military presence like none I've ever seen because of all these matches, and was coming down to Philadelphia. And the amount of people who were coming into Philadelphia for matches was through the roof. I happened to be able to observe the Ghana and Croatia match from the Four Seasons in Philadelphia, which now has a bar for this very very purpose. So it was chicken and champagne, and the Ghanaians and the Croatians. And I also at the same time was able to consult with Leo van Breitenturn, who's Prince Croatia, and with Ambassador Abby Buza, who is Princess Ghana.
Mhm.
And so the two of them were having their thing. So it was just a really great sort of event. So again, these global things coming to the city of Brother Love are really important.
Yeah. Can we acknowledge the yeoman's job that the mayor and her team are doing as it applies to the visits that are happening here? I recognize that people are, upset for one thing or another. Those of us who live here all year long are having, our issues. But I had to go online the other day and discuss how disrespectful we can be to each other, to Black leaders in particular. What Mayor Parker has done, and look, I get it. I get that she's not perfect. I get that there are issues back and forth, all the things that are going on. But no one completely has yet acknowledged how much she has had to take on coming in as mayor, right? Because before Mayor Kenny left, he said, I'm tired of this. I can't, y'all are just ungrateful, blah, 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 blah. And there were so many things that were not done correctly. The school district, and this has gone back way beyond Mayor Kenny, by the way. Mayors upon mayors upon mayors. She came in and decided she was going to take a big bite out of the apple, get the city cleaner, which has happened. People say it was because there are people coming in, but before we had folks coming in for the FIFA matches, etc. She had done a great job. I see people coming through our streets. The city is not as filthy as it could be or had been in the past. And I to hear you talk about FIFA, the FIFA matches, they're talking about Lemon Hill, all the good things that are happening down there. Can we give her and her team just a little bit of thank you, just a thank you on behalf of all the things? Because this could have been a disaster, like all the way around. Understand what I'm saying?
I,
There's a
you
lot
know,
of
I
planning.
think I think a report card has lots of subjects on it.
Hmm.
And I think that we have to give A's where A's are due,
Yes.
and B's where B's are due, and C's where C's are due. And I think that it's okay. And I wish that people weren't such a monolith about these sorts of things, but
Right.
you can excel and be excellent at something and perhaps not do so well on another thing. And
And other things, right? Both
we should
hands.
be just as vocal about the praise that we lay upon a person as we
That
are
part.
in our sadness about a particular other subject
That
matter.
part. We
So
should be
when it
just as
comes
vocal I hear you,
Yeah.
David. We should just be vocal about the praise. And I don't think people give her and her team enough credit. And I don't even know what the hell's going on behind the scenes. And yes,
Well,
look,
I
look.
think historically, with all mayors, right, and just people in politics, when you do your job well, there it's silent, and that's the mark of success, right? Is that there is silence. When you are not doing your job well, people complain, and that's the mark of not doing something right. Is the complaints that come. So it all depends on how we see. And this is just across the board in politics and in general
Mhm,
things in the life of a Western society, that when people are upset, they are the most vocal.
mhm,
Rarely do people come down to City Hall to give praise to the team that is working on governance there. They come
mhm,
down to say, "This is my complaint," right? And so I
mhm,
think that that can be demoralizing if you're someone who is used to hearing praise. It's
mhm,
very hard to exist in such a realm. So I think that the
mhm,
Park administration, on many fronts, is doing extraordinarily well as we go through this semi-cinquentennial in pointing people like Michael Loomis and the job that he's doing to push as a forefront in the marketing effort of this city in these
mhm,
plans of making sure that people like the commissioner are duly able to perform their job and their duties with the teams that they have in police that they can protect
mhm.
in combination with federal agencies, right? So to be able to work with federal agencies
It's
while
a
we
lot of
have
work. It's a
a
lot of
government,
moving
right,
parts
which is in
to keep
opposition
this
to
city
many things
safe.
that we do.
Absolutely.
And it's a balancing act, right? We have a first class city, which is that's the word. We have a first class city, which is a very leftist leaning Democrat city of sanctuary city, who depends on money from federal government and other things, which has stopped, but is also now having to cooperate with the federal government in hosting these sorts of events. So there's a lot of scale balancing going on there, and I think the administration currently is doing a very good job at balancing that
Mhm,
scale for these such events, and making sure that
mhm,
Philadelphia is open for business currently as people
mhm.
come in and out. It remains to be seen what the 4th of July is like, but if it is any testament to
Yeah,
what we've done so far, it seems like it's going to be a lovely thing here in Philadelphia for people to be
yeah.
able to celebrate. So
You know,
um, always pray for
I
those things too.
yeah, I hear you and appreciate the comments that you're making. I got a message that the Jamaicans are asked to be on the, to be in the parade, and I was like, I'm going in up. Oops, I'm going in the opposite direction from Philadelphia, but I may change my mind. They sent me the thing was like, you got to sign this form if you want to. I was like, all right, I may change my mind and be a part of this, quincentennial celebration. I just felt like I didn't know what was going to happen with
This
what's
is the Fourth
happening
of
in the White
July
House.
parade. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But with everything that's been going on and I see them trying to work really hard, I was just
Yeah.
trying to stay out of the middle of all of it. David says she is asked to be mayor. She has not measured up to the important matters. David, I keep saying to you both and right now we're discussing everything that's happening in terms of the bicentennial, the 250 years. America's really a young country. They're like a baby
You know,
compared
I
to other nations.
I
Um,
I feel like this is where pauses do because on twofold. One, often when we blame the office of the mayor or the executive office for something, we're actually speaking about a particular job that's not being done by somebody else somewhere in the administration, i.e.,
mhm,
people get very upset about the trash pickup, but they haven't gone to
right,
the people who pick up the trash, they go directly to the mayor's office.
right.
And Jim Kenney used to say all the time, you guys call me about a stop sign, I have no control over the stop sign, right?
Mhm,
And so while you're upset at me about the fact there isn't a stop sign at this corner, there's a speed bump over here, really, I haven't anything to do at all with the stop sign. I have no say over the stop sign. Fine.
mhm,
And in that way, I think sometimes the mayor often is unjustly receiving negative messaging about something that perhaps she doesn't have her finger on the pulse of. In the opposite direction, many of the things that we want to praise the mayor for are not necessarily things that she has directly the finger on the pulse of. So there are people like Michael Loomis or other offices which she has appointed, right? And it's really important who you
mhm,
appoint to do these
mhm,
jobs. She's done a
mhm,
really good job at appointing good people to do this
mhm,
work. And those people
mhm,
are out here making sure these things come together. So there are lots of
mhm.
individuals within these offices that deserve praise, and lots of
Yes.
individuals within these offices who do not deserve praise. Neither one of those two is on the shoulders of the personage of Sherelle Parker. That
Mhm,
also said, I think where administrations get messed up is when they take on the praise or they
Mhm.
take on the blame. So when
Right.
you come back to center on responding to things as though they are personal,
Mhm.
then people believe that they are personal. So when
Mhm.
you come to a microphone and say, here's what I'm doing to X, Y, and Z, people believe it's you. And when you say,
Mhm.
here's what we're not doing to X, Y, and Z, people say, well, that's
People
true.
believe it's you. Right.
So
Right.
when we focus the events inwardly on the agenda, sometimes we also focus the negativity and or the praise on the
Mhm.
individual. So I think
Mhm.
all of it is rather unfair. I think the
Mhm.
mayor's job is often a coordination wheel of a
Mhm.
circus act to make sure that things happen. I
Mhm.
think where we see some direct results is in appointments. So when people
Mhm.
are angry with the mayor about education, it's because there was direct influence in the appointments of the people who made the decision, that people say, well, this actually is yours. When people are excited about clean, green, and energy efficient, it's because
Mhm.
they see a direct footprint on what that means, and as they
Mhm.
see it happen or don't see it happen, they speak
Mhm.
to it. So I
Mhm.
think for Citizen Dave, yes, this is a choice to run for an office which has always been unforgiving. There has never been a forgiving office in politics,
Yes.
and so it comes with, as you say, the fire.
Mhm.
And the fire is necessary. I think it's always important to hear the people and their fire. Fire is what
Mhm.
tells us what we need to correct and change.
Mhm.
But in the same way, I think it's really important for us to, where we find these moments, these glimmers of beauty, we should express them and be
Absolutely.
thankful and say
Yeah.
thank you. So I think I've always said this. My private conversations with the mayor have always been lovely. And when I speak about things, if I write or say something which is, in my view, a city correction or something that could be positively changed, I make that known. I am not a person who goes and writes emails and sends lots of logs. I'm a person who taps on people's doors and says hello in the office, but that is because of who I've always been and from whence I come. Right? The understanding is a little different in that way.
Mhm.
But I think watching the job, the report card that's given, every subject is a different subject, and we have to be
Mhm.
fair to grade those
So,
subjects differently.
so while we're on this subject and talking about the people that are appointed, I'd like to give kudos to two people.
Mm,
One of them is Giselle Jones, Curtis Jones's wife, who has been someone who has done a yeoman's job, of planning events. She is really one of the people we should say thank you, ma'am, to, because she's not lauded herself, she's not put her, you see her behind the mayor at events, etc., but she's really not put herself in the forefront to say I am the one that's doing all of this. To your point, right, there are people who are appointed. The other one is Susan Slauson from Parks and Rec, right? They're these both these women are doing amazing jobs. They're quiet, they're introspective, and they're doing
that's
what they're
right.
supposed to do. And
Yeah.
so Anita, the level of disdain and disrespect that we have for each other that we don't normally give to other people. I talked about that on my social media platform this week. You can disagree without being nasty, without being vile, without being. I've To your point. You and I, we've been on this platform. Listen, I've talked to the mayor more times. The mayor has stood in my corner when I was going through something horrific in 2024. I remember that. I will not forget that. At the same time, when things are going wrong, I have to address them as someone who is in the media. But it
Mhm.
doesn't mean that I'm going to be disrespectful to her or the office. And I need us to understand the difference. You don't have to be nasty and vile to get your point across. Laverne says this city has been a mess. Other than the new money grabs, her and her administration is doing well considering. Good morning, Jasenia. Laverne also says, I remember when we had Mayor Nutter, he was horrible. It's still hard to like that man.
Yeah,
Mike
I
says,
think I think the cards are stacked against any mayor. I think people are feeling the pressures of taxation. I think people are feeling the pressures of feeling ignored or unheard, perhaps. When I think it's hard for people to see the celebration sometimes and wonder, while all this focus on international celebration is going on, where was the focus on my small street? Right. I think those are fair things to feel and to say. I think it's just as fair to say, job well done, where it is well done, right? I don't
Mm,
hold animosity and anger towards people when I disagree with them. The disagreement is important. I disagree on this particular issue for this reason.
right.
And I agree on this issue for this reason. And that's called adulthood. When you
Mhm.
hold a boo boo lip or a grudge, or you're upset, or you can't speak to people because you feel X, Y, that says I'm a child. And
Yes.
I can't, I am too grown to raise you. That's something your
Mhm.
parents should have done. And so I think when we look at the work and the report card of this administration, there are subjects which they will get A's for because they excelled.
Mhm.
And there are
Mhm.
subjects where they will get some D's because it didn't
Yes.
go so well. And that's
Mhm.
called the world we live in, right? That's the
Mhm.
job. So
Mhm.
I think what is interesting to me is that we are in an election year for everybody, that the mayor is
Mhm.
going to be running a campaign
Mhm.
for reelection, and that we
Mhm.
should be careful how we look at what is done and in the eyes of there is a campaign. And I
Yeah.
think every member of city council is now running a campaign to either be
Yeah.
reelected or to go or this, that, and the other.
Mhm.
Curtis and his wife may choose
Mhm.
to leave their roles and come back as consultants. That's something the
Mhm.
Inquirer has talked about quite
For
a
the
bit.
drop program, yes.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
whole
yeah.
nother
So,
subject that we have to talk about. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me read some of these comments. Laverne says, I feel like the social media complainers, for the most part, is ignorant. They just blame her for everything. I go to the sources and I am getting responses for the concerns I have had. Do I hate the speed bumps? Yes. Do I hate getting tickets? Yes. To deal with it, I don't speed. That's simple. Alexandra says, yes, this country is very young. I highly recommend that everyone watch Ken Burns' latest documentary, The American Revolution. Learns very much more that I wasn't taught in school, including college. Oh, there's so much you haven't learned in school. So you've got to, carry on and watch these things. Good morning again, Beatrice. Laverne says, now with the school district, the super need to go, the board need to go. But we'll talk about that. Joanne says Kenny didn't want the job when it got hard and said so. He didn't get as much backlash as she's getting for caring and trying to do the job. Katisha says Susan is a powerhouse. She pours into young folks and prays for them openly. Yes, yes, yes. Susan Slauson, you may never know or hear that name, but she leads Parks and Recs. Is one of the beautiful decisions that Mayor Parker made. Susan Slauson is everything. You
yeah,
got to get to know her if you don't know her, David. She's everything. And
yeah,
I'm not saying that lightly. Giselle Jones, I don't know at all, other than watching the quantitative quality of her work over the
fantastic
years.
lady. She's a fantastic lady. Yeah.
Laverne
I
says
will say, I
exactly.
was the comment on previous mayors and how they behaved, I think we should compare apples to apples, right? When Kenny was in the second term, at the
Mhm,
end of the second term, where we citizens blamed him for everything, including the litter, the street sign, the
mhm,
plane that crashed, the storm that happened, the whatever else, he said,
mhm.
quite honestly, I am exhausted. And I
Yes.
think that we owe people the honesty. I'd rather hear you say I'm exhausted than you lie to me and tell me you're not and can do
Mhm,
forward. So I
mhm.
actually, I don't have a problem with Kenny saying I'm done with this job. I think it's
Yes.
actually really important for us to have politicians who are honest with us.
Mhm,
And he was
mhm.
very clear. Even if I could run again, I'd go sit down because this job has taken me
It's a
through
lot.
it.
This
Right,
job
it's
is
a
a
lot.
lot.
That was
Yeah.
in the second term. At the end of the second term, we're talking about someone
Mhm,
who's in their first term. At the end of their first term, there's always a lot
mhm,
more excitement, a lot more joy. We're
mhm,
not in the second term. I
mhm,
think that she will likely have a second term, right? I don't know that
mhm,
there's anyone who's going to come forward and challenge her in any particular meaningful way. And I think that the work that she's done as a whole is such that will carry her through a campaign. So
mhm.
I don't see a big, something would have to happen, I think, again, or there'd have to be some
Oh,
really
please
genius marketing.
speak softly because we said something would have to happen, and Lord Jesus, you already know how this goes, right?
So,
Andrea says. Andrea
yeah,
says Giselle and Curtis Jones are both in the paper right now regarding retirement program issues. Like David says, both and. The other David says the two ladies are doing a great job. However, they should have both been given a contract that would have alleviated the drop issue. So David, we're going to discuss drop. Just give me 1 second. So true, Andrea. No need to be messy, Yvette Chambers says. And Mike says, and you can always move to awesome Pittsburgh. We have three rivers. Yes, we can. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Alexandra says at Laverne, how many of those folks are actual taxpayers? Most of the complainers on social media against the mayor are tax abatement, non taxpayers, or don't get involved with their community. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the people that I'm hearing complain are the girls in North Philly saying, Sherelle Parker. I'm not hearing. Actually, I think the people who are non-tax paying and tax abatement people are very happy.
Mhm.
They've received every tax break on the face of the
Mhm.
earth. The people who
Mhm.
are complaining are people probably in the streets. I will say the taxation issue and how it trickles down to the man on the street
Mhm.
is probably one of the bigger hurdles that she has. But
Yeah.
from a standpoint of are people in corporate businesses happy? Oh yeah. Is the building and trades happy? Absolutely. Are
Mhm.
the people who are receiving tax abatements for living in fabulous condos happy? Yes. Are the girls on
Mhm.
the corner who are trying to figure out how to survive one step at a time
No.
happy? No, because they're being told to get a
Mhm.
4-year degree before they can eat.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
that's the yeah
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Marguerite. Well, look at that. Marguerite says the mayor mentioned Giselle and Susan last night. I'm glad to hear that. I didn't see any of that. That was just something I wanted to discuss this morning.
Yeah.
Because I try to stay away. Now, speaking of last night, Kirk Franklin got into something. Somebody accosted him backstage somewhere where he was.
Cancel the
He never
concert.
came on stage, but then it got rained out. And people were complaining online about that. So there is that. There's always going to be something. There's something. Dolores Davis says, "Greetings, mother and all. Agree with you, Mike. Why should all that money be paid to empty that pool? That pool has always been okay." But we're talking about at the federal level now. We're all over the place. We're locally and federal. We'll get to the pool in a minute.
Coming to the
Um,
bell.
Child,
We're
right?
praising the pond beneath it
Uh,
because it's a poor frog who does not praise his own pond. And I think that we
It's a
should,
poor frog
yes.
that does not praise his own pond. Absolutely. Tracy says being an elected official or anyone in leadership for that matter can be a thankless job at times. Not at times, it's a thankless job a lot of the times. Laverne says she thinks the mayor will win a second term. The only person I can see running against her and may win is Isaiah Thomas, maybe. Oh, yeah, we're going
I
to see.
don't think Isaiah will run. I think
Mhm.
the resign to run is what would have made it possible for people in city council
Mhm.
to run against this particular administration.
Mhm.
I will tell you truly, I don't feel a great fire within city council of anybody who is desiring to run against the current administration.
Mhm.
I don't think that they're at a point where they simply cannot do any work with the administration. I think that
Mhm.
they certainly have their complications, but the mayor has raised $2 million so far plus for campaigning for this next thing. It's a great heat, and if you are working and receiving 180 to 200,000 hours a year, you're not beating that scale right now. So I think people like Isaiah are not necessarily looking at all for a mayoral run. I think he's also very much done his job for his community in protecting school rights, or at least highlighting what is going on in that. And that, so I think he's pretty safe in coming back again to
Mhm.
take up his chair on city council. But I
Mhm.
don't. I will say to you quite honestly, I don't see anyone on city council who has right now the motivation to run for mayor. I don't see that in all of my personal conversations and interactions. That's not there.
Mhm. David says, I think she might be a one term. How do you request an assessment when the citizens are in financial crisis? I am a taxpayer and involved in the community. Winnie Love says, what's this drop program? Please explain if possible. I'm
Yeah.
so glad you asked, Winnie. The Philadelphia Drop Program allows eligible municipal employees to retire on paper while continuing to work, accumulating pension benefits in a deferred account that is paid as a lump sum upon actual retirement. And so listen, under the drop program, employees can enter retirement status while continuing to work for a period, typically up to 3 years. During this period, their monthly pension benefits are deposited into an interest bearing drop account, which is paid out as a lump sum when the employee finally leaves the employment. It's their money. They've just decided that this is how they want it. It's not like they're stealing from the city, right? Their monthly pension benefits are deposited, so they continue to work for up to 36 months, and then they go ahead and get their money in a lump sum.
I
Uh,
think
to,
the
uh, to,
question.
to hold
Yeah.
on, David. Let me finish reading this. To participate in drop, employees must be eligible for retirement under their prospective pension plan. respective pension plan, plan A, B, D, J, X, etc. Submit a completed drop application to the Board of Pensions and Retirement. Continue working for the city during the drop period, earning their regular salary while their pensions accrues in the drop account. Participation is irrevocable once the drop entrance date is set, and employees stop contributing to their pension during the drop period, meaning future salaries or additional services do not affect the deferred pension calculation.
Yeah, and this again, I think when people ask why,
Mhm,
imagine what it would look like if you had someone excellent like Giselle in the role,
mhm,
and you have the mayor going to a second cycle, and she says, "I'm ready to retire," and the mayor says, "I really need you. I really think you're a great employee. I think you're doing really wonderful things."
mhm,
This would allow her to retire on paper, begin to get her pension accruing, right? Because there would be no
mhm,
incentive to stay otherwise, and then to continue
mhm,
working for the administration for the next 3 years to find a replacement, to train up someone else new, to get us through a hump. I think in municipal services, in city governance, in executive branch level of things, this is really important to be able to have the crew or the people around you need to be successful. And trying to deal with really, because often the people who are retiring out of a place, right? These are not people who are leaving because they are losing their jobs. They're choosing, electing to go. They're the most knowledgeable. They're the most successful. They often have heard and been through the war and know how to steer the ship out of dangerous waters. It's really bad to lose that top tier of people and then have to recultivate them. So I think this
right.
program
Yeah. The people.
protects a lot of that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what it says here. The application process is to complete the job application available for the Philadelphia City website. Submit the form to the Board of Pensions and Retirement. Confirm eligibility, right? So here are the considerations. While DROP provides a significant financial benefit, it suspends pension contributions during the participation period, which may affect long term pension growth if the employee extends their career beyond the drop period. The program has been subject to public scrutiny due to the high lump sum payouts and potential for employees to return as contractors, raising concerns about taxpayer costs. And in summary, the Philadelphia Drop Program is a structured way for eligible city employees to defer pension payouts while continuing to work, offering both immediate and long term financial benefits, but it requires careful planning and awareness of its rules and implications.
Yeah, I
I
don't
hope
see
that
a
answers.
negative, quite frankly, on either end. The drop program also ensures that people who are past their expiration date go. Right. So if there was a federal drop program, we would have a lot of these senators retiring at 70 instead of living on to be a senator at 90. Right. We would. So I think for all ends of the spectrum, I am actually pro the drop program. I think it's perfectly acceptable to defer your own payments and receive them as a lump sum. They're not. It's not as though someone is saying, "Well, here's a brand new contract for you." I think people say, "Well, but you're working and you're still getting this retirement benefit." Yes, and right. So yes, you are getting the retirement benefit in a delayed manner. But let's say that you then, if you didn't have the drop program, you would negotiate for a higher salary so that when you begin to get the
Mhm,
pensions, you get a bigger pension, right? So
mhm,
right, the game is to say, okay, well, cost effective. Let's not do that. Well, now that's great. You want me to come back next year and you need me because you still need me to do this job. It's now $500,000. And you'll just
mhm,
have to deal with that. So
mhm.
right now you're locking them in at 180, 200, 250, and you're going to pay
Right.
them a pension, but you're not going to pay them
Mhm,
400 next year because they're
mhm,
able to defer their pensions for 3 years with a cap, and then they must go, right? So
mhm,
there's a period of change, and in that 3 years, you know that you are training your replacement, and you're not bitter about it. You're not training
mhm.
someone because you're being pushed out. You're training someone because you've decided to go. So I think
And
that
they're
it's
very
it's
aware that it's a 3 year, that's it, a
very
3 year,
aware.
boom, that's
You
it.
know
You can't do
immediately this
anything.
is it.
Yes, yes.
So
Um,
Curtis
Alexandra, hold
Jones, I
on.
think, is the one that's the question because his job is as a
Yes,
city council person and therefore he's an
yes.
elected. Whereas
Mhm.
Giselle, she's
Giselle's just
hired
an
by the
employee.
administration. It's
Yes.
very
Mhm,
different. I think the
mhm,
conversation is about the two of them. What would this look like for them as a couple, as a household? And this
mhm.
is interesting also the conversation about being a city council person with a wife working in municipal
And
governance.
then they're the
That's not
government. Yes.
not
Mhm,
unusual. We have a lot of that. Isaiah's wife works on his team. Representative Jim Harity has a wife who works in city government. I have the pleasure of sitting next to her every Thursday. She is a delight. And so this is not unusual in our politics and our government. But there is now a question
Should
about,
it
well, what
be? I
happens
have
when
to
you step
question. Should it be a thing though? Should you be able
I
to?
do wonder. I do wonder, should you be able to hire your family or work within your family? I remember when my parents, both of my parents worked for Prudential for many years. And when my mother's job became so large that she was overseeing operations of East Coast Standard, my father had to leave Prudential
Mm-hmm.
because she could not oversee his work.
Yeah.
And so she had superseded him and become then the
Mm-hmm.
boss, if you will, of East Coast operations at EHO. And he needed to then do something else. So he left his career there and changed his career, became an investigator, fraud investigator for
Mm-hmm.
insurance companies. But
Mm-hmm.
both have been the most extraordinary executive track, right, at Prudential. So Prudential's rules said no. You can't actually operate where you are the boss.
And there is a fraternization rule anyway within employees and workplaces. So I'm wondering, how is this even a thing? So all right.
Yeah, and I
So,
think when you're a city council person, you direct your own office. I don't know that the
mhm,
rules apply in that way for city council members as they are elected, and often the people who are forming their kitchen cabinets and then through their administrations are friends, family. We saw this when we saw even the run that we had for Ayla Stanford, included her brother conducting campaign stuff. So this is not unusual, but it is something that we should perhaps add a question mark to.
mhm.
Again, if you're running an office, maybe the person you trust the most is the person you are with at night, and that might matter. But then also people can say, well, is there some double dipping, some playing here? What does that
Right,
mean?
right. Yeah. Alexandra asked this question. She says, can it be I don't know. Can it be how the current administration she's talking about at the federal level is now coming into the city because she wouldn't poke the bear? Jefferson University is being challenged for their scholarship programs for Black doctors. Y'all, I'm telling you, Black people are on the agenda. I keep telling y'all, but don't pay me and David no mind. We've been talking about this. Laverne
Well,
says some of the
that's a report card issue. That's a report
that's a
card, and that
yep.
might be be an F on the report card, right? Like, where do we
Yeah.
where is the report card on that?
Mhm.
There is a lack of challenge in federal government, probably because nobody wants to lose more funding, right?
Right.
So, do I challenge the federal government in saying X, Y, and Z? I think the last time that we challenged the federal government was over the issue of the installation of the memorial that memorialized slaves
And the federal
downtown,
judge
right?
overturned that, so
Right,
now
federal
they've got
government
to
turned that,
take
but
right.
we saw
Hmm.
the mayor go hard on that
Hmm.
and be very vocal about why that should be there
Hmm.
and let the people know that it was being sued. The administration was taking care of that. That's there.
Hmm.
But there's also this sort of opposite of is that all encompassing? Do you want to put your foot in that muddy water? I actually think it would be smart for her campaign to do it. I think the
Hmm.
people of Philadelphia will continue to support her even if the federal government does not. And I think even the losses that are created by the federal government will be blamed on the federal government. I don't think they'll say Sherelle Parker and
Did
her
it right.
administration caused the
Hmm.
loss of this funding, and therefore we're having a problem. I think people will rightly say the Trump administration did this. And I think if she's playing the cards the way I would play them or chess the way I would play it, she'd recognize that Donald Trump and his administration may not survive because we're already seeing sort of fervor in numbers of people who are going now to the Senate, how
Hmm.
this push to the left is happening, how this
Hmm.
really resistance to MAGA and to the entire understanding and to everything collapsing on the federal level. I think that it would be safe now for a mayor to say, I'm gonna go 100 in and lean left on this. Particularly after we saw the election of Rep. Rav, it
Hmm.
should be clear to local politicians that we are leaning left and that it might be time to get on.
Now leaning left at this that left socialist. Whew, hold on, let me finish reading these comments because Mandami in New York and all the things that are happening there. David, you and I could talk every day of the week and not cover everything that needs to be covered. It's just too much
it's,
going
it just keeps coming.
on. Let's see. Laverne says some of the energy was awful last night at Gospel Welcome America. I have never been so disgusted and embarrassed as I was last night of all the years attending and participating.
It
Uh
was canceled last year, wasn't it? Didn't they have to cancel
Rain? Was
and
it rain? I
stay
don't
because of
know. I have
rain
no
and
idea. Again, I stay away from the fray. Essence says, yes, I'm in the drop program. My husband is a city worker. In addition, they do not have enough people entering the trades and city employment, which is another problem. See?
yeah.
Andrea says the
Well,
problem is
and I want to pause there because that's another. Here's another sort of star for the mayor is this program where you can enter it specifically to enter into these city programs, right? So there is
Mhm,
now an education course for city
mhm,
municipal government and any other to direct people
mhm,
into those jobs. So
mhm.
we get another tally on that mark there. I think it's important that we do
Yeah.
both sides equally. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone just wrote, David is a wonderful guest and voice on these critical and relevant issues. I appreciate his thoughtfulness and balance. Well, welcome to the David and Andrea conversation every Monday. This is every Monday. This has been going on for years. You gotta come because we talk about everything. Andrea says the problem is the loophole that lets certain employees drop, retire, and then turn around and be rehired. The average employee cannot be rehired. So it's only let certain employees enter the drop program. I got it, Andrea. I got it. I got it.
Is the average employee not being able to be rehired because they don't have the ability to become a consultant?
Ooh, wait. Let's talk about this because someone called me last night about this. Alexandra says, oh, but they're not getting paid in a timely manner. Drop payments are months behind. 6ABC just did an investigation about it. So people,
Well, not just drop payments, all retirement payments. Retirement people in retirement in Philadelphia have been seeing a lag of their checks coming for up to 6 months, right? And I think there was a couple of cases was like 10 months of it. So
ooh,
it's that's appalling. There's a
that
negative
must
side
have
of the
not
house,
seen your
right?
money.
So if you're playing this game, yeah, I mean this is a concern when you have city employment employers who have retired,
Mhm.
who then are not receiving their retirement checks. This is huge. This is
Yes.
huge. And
10
that's
months?
something
Lord
where,
Jesus.
yeah,
Yeah. They told my husband when he retired it would take up to 3 months. It didn't even take that long, but I get it. Laura says I've worked with a few people who were had the drop program. It's a great plan and very helpful. Ha! Katisha says when a person retires and is voluntold to come back, you need a drop. I do believe Susan Slauson was retiring too, had retired too, and she was asked to come back. So listen, y'all leave Susan alone. Essence says yes, the drop program is their money, and honestly, most people retire and go work somewhere else. Most people cannot retire and sit home because expenses are too high. That
absolutely.
is an absolutely valid point. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Um, Alexandra says, at Essence, because the city doesn't pay enough into certain jobs, and some of the testing, administrative, clerical are antiquated. Wow, wow. Whew, Laura says some people may be jealous because they do not have access to a plan like this. David says, I like the twist on the drop program. Mayor Kenny said it was not right and changed the rules. Okay. Uh, Andrea says the train your replacement is the part that isn't happening in any of these departments. We're having issues there. Laura says I've done events with her, Giselle. She has a wonderful, humble spirit. I'm telling you, she never promotes herself. I've never seen her do it. You would never know she's the wife of Curtis Jones. Absolutely. So, Marguerite says the gospel concert has rained out for the last 2 years.
I was gonna say it's been
Yeah. So yeah. Well, it was rained out. Okay. Mike says all you women folk just got the screaming tight sweats for David's hair. They love your hair. Every time you come on, it's like, David.
and let me tell you, it's always funny because yesterday was a terribly humid day. And so
Mhm,
so Afro rising.
mhm, mhm.
But
Yeah, I
he's
hear
touching
you,
me more,
David.
yeah.
This
Yeah.
is what happens when you have great black hair. You see what? See, I have my Bantu knots today,
I love it.
child. Woo,
I
child.
love it. I saw you
Tracy.
getting them done.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. David Tracy says, David, that program you mentioned that leads to city employment in conjunction with community college of is wait is in conjunction with the community college of Philadelphia.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yep, 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 yep.
Yeah.
Um, Andrea says it's not that average employees can't be contracted. The rules are set for that already. Parker rescinded the rule that Kenny said that specifically spoke to the loophole they're exploiting. Oh, okay.
That's what we said.
Okay,
What's that
Andrea,
negative?
you already know. Send me the what you have, please. If I try to keep up with everything, thank God for people like you who gives me all the information that I need at the tip of my fingers. Essence says all employees can enter the drop who have that benefit packages. Yes, David, to your point, are people eligible to be rehired as a contractor with the proper skill?
Yeah.
Yes. people hire are eligible to be rehired as a contractor with the proper skill set. Okay, let's see. All right, good morning, good morning, good morning. So we've just had a great conversation about the drop program. It happened inadvertently because Winnie wanted to know what it was, so we dove right into it so that people could get an understanding of what it is. Um, oh, Marguerite said it took my husband almost a year to get his city retirement. She was in the drop pro. He was in the drop program and stayed in even though he was sick. That's crazy. That's just. Whew. All right, so let's kind of pivot because we now have, let's see, 17 minutes. I have another great guest coming on at 7:30. Um, let's pivot to the national news. I know 17 minutes is not enough, David. I know. Did you just did a Prince? You just turned your head and
Okay.
where do you want to start?
I don't.
Neither do I. Neither
You
do
know, the I keep thinking this show, a person shows you who they are, believe them. And so I'm looking at this all states fair, which was empty, nobody came. I'm looking at
He
you
had
know
an
what was
all
scary for
states
me this
fair. I don't
weekend?
even. So he had an all states fair.
On the lawn, yes, in Washington, D.C., for every state to participate in, it was abysmal. You could see every blade of grass in that image. There was nobody standing on it.
Did you say you could
And
see every blade of
I mean, every blade.
every blade of grass, huh?
Um, what actually caught my attention was the response about the reflecting pool. Someone asked about this, and
Hmm.
what was interesting to me was that the comment about the tear. There was a comment saying that someone took a pocket knife and tore into the reflecting pools, whatever, and that's what's causing the algae. And then they showed a picture with the jagged edge. First, when you use a sharp thing to slice
Hmm.
something, you have a sharp edge, not a jagged one. I just wish there were small things like continuity in producing images. But moreover, the fact that he had weaponized parks and recreation and the National Mall Service to make that message.
Hmm.
I'm sure nobody in that organization wanted to come out and say, because the president chose to drive armored tanks and vehicles that are tons of weight over a freshly painted area, there were some scrapes and things which caused holes that then allowed algae to grow in a very bad way that we didn't prepare
But
for. And
who's
when you
going to
paint
address
something
that?
blue,
Who?
that you the reflection, the light is greater, and so algae grows or whatever else, all the scientific, nobody wanted to come out. They were forced to come out and say someone, and they arrested, I think, 4 people. Came out with the pop. One of the people they arrested was an actor who simply had gone down, looked at it, and picked up a piece of reflecting pool that was just floating. And he picked up a piece of reflecting pool. Was like, "Are you kidding me?" And they had arrested him for vandalism, right? Uh, this shows you what I
Ooh.
call the Hitler effect, right?
Mhm.
That's the something obscene where now, even when you just want to, it seems small, right? Just picking up some little piece of whatever and saying, but where does that stop?
Right.
Right now, if I'm personally upset by whatever, now we have the Trump administration saying that they will attack individual citizens for saying things which they
And are
consider
we not yet
anti-American.
alarmed about this, David? I'm
We
wondering.
should be beyond alarm, but I think there's so much that people have desensitized themselves. Do you know that the latest bill to come out would give religious institutions the ability to discriminate and still receive tax-based funding? That's I mean, this stuff is just coming at all angles at all times. It is we are at a place now where I think it is untenable that we would continue with the same person as president or with even the administration around them. So it is my hope that the progressive candidates are elected into their seats when it comes time for the elections to go off, and that in that truth that we can see some actual flipping and changing. I was reflecting on, as we said the other day, the change internationally in Keir Stars in the United Kingdom and how they can have a vote of non-confidence and get rid of
Mhm.
someone very
Yes.
quickly. And I
Not
wish
have,
that we
but
had the
they've
ability to have it.
but they've been shifting the laws here in America now for a while. Mike says I've been alarmed for years. So have I. The first time I got really alarmed, Mike, and I mean that was buzzing in my head over the last several years was 2016,
Mm.
and I said, "Ooh," But we
Mm.
kept thinking because life went on as usual in these United States of America that all was just going to be well. And I still think people of color don't realize that those camps, those concentration camps that are being built are not for they're not enough immigrants here.
They're for
Trust them,
you.
but
They're for
we just
you.
keep thinking we're still free-ish, free-ish.
They're for you. Remember, slavery didn't end. It got shifted to the prison system. And who was incriminated at that point? Well, we attacked families that were black and brown. So we took the men out of those houses and imprisoned them for very petty little teeny crimes. Do you know it was illegal not to have a job? That some African Americans were put in jail because they didn't have employment,
Yeah.
because the law said you had to have a job. So when you look back at the census and you say, what are these jobs? Like, what does this mean, box cutter number two? Or
Mhm.
what does it mean when every black woman is suddenly a housekeeper? Well, it's not that they were housekeepers necessarily. Often it was that they had to list that they had some sort of job. And so if otherwise they would be criminally responsible. Right.
Mhm.
And so when we think about these sorts of truths and we think about why are we building these mass centers for
Mhm.
a population that does not even exist here? Well, we realize that it's you are the population.
How about
You are
that?
the next road.
And how long will it take us to realize that we are the
Till it's too
population?
late. Remember when it was
Mhm.
the gold star to attach to your breast in Germany that
Mhm.
identified people of a particular faith,
Mhm.
and how long
And
it
those
took them,
same people that
and
wore
they
those gold stars were the ones that were
wore them
targeted.
proudly, sewed them on their own outfits, and were proud of this symbol, which then eventually being their death stamp.
Yeah.
Right, the passport and
Mhm.
its identification process logs everything you do, including when you walk into a store. Now that little chip in your real ID connects to every single device, so I can geoplot you and web you now governmentarily. I
Say
had a
it again,
conversation
because I, I
this.
I I don't think people real and everybody ran. I need to go get my real
Are
ID.
forced
Had
to have a
no
real
idea.
idea with a chip in it. That chip can not only be logged through airports and this and the other, it can also be logged when you walk into a store. So when you seem to get this random thing that says, oh my God, here's a coupon for Walmart because your behind was at Walmart today, don't be surprised because that chip logged you as you came through the door. Right, all of your information now is kept in a very small little. We can track you across where we geo web you now. This is something which I don't think a lot of people understand is going on.
Mhm.
So even when I go to the airport, right, it used to be that I would go to the airport and I'd take out my passport, they would scan it, whatever else, they'd ask me a bunch of questions. Now I walk up to the machine and it says, "Good morning, Mr. Jenkins."
Mhm.
Right, it just scans your face. Right now, that's where we are. Every time we make a post, every time we like something, every time someone else puts up something with our name on it, every time we walk in or out of a building, there's one more thing that
Yep.
verifies that this is your face, this is you, this is who
Mhm.
you are. It's as
Mhm.
inescapable. You can't leave that system. It's a system we're in. We
Mhm.
have a system of the gold star already
Mhm.
in place. What needs to be done is the implementation of that system, which just means saying, oh, Andrea is here at this point because we saw her walk out of her house. She went to
Mhm.
the grocery store and bought eggs. She's at the grocery store. You have 5 minutes to get to her.
Yeah.
And how easy then is it to plug up
And
Andrea and
that's
put her
how
into
the
the game?
Philadelphia police has been able to arrest, because they talk about their drone system. They're now openly talking about it. They can track you from the time you did the scene of the crime all the way to when you went to get into the Uber and arrest you right there. So people
Right
think,
there.
oh, well, they can't. Cameras, you are right, David. Everything is everywhere. Everything is everywhere. Liz said, well, at least there's still grass on the lawn and not paved over. We at least have that for now. I don't even know what the White House is going to look like at the end of this administration, if we ever get
Demolished.
to the end.
Demolished. I think whoever comes in next should purposefully rebuild every aspect that was torn down. Halt all projects and return. Now, a lot of what's being done in the ballroom is not about a ballroom. It's about everything that's secure underneath the ballroom, right? It's about rebuilding all those structures and this and the other.
Mhm,
I used to go bowling at the White House,
mhm,
and it's funny. I just put up some bits about that. But there's two
mhm,
bowling alleys at the White House and a movie theater, and I used to go over and bowl. And some of that structure has been removed, and this and the other. All that underground military structure, all that base support. The White House appears to be a rather modest mansion above the grass.
mhm,
Underground, it is expansive.
Mhm.
and all of the working tunnels and this and the other in offices and supplies and communications and security measures underneath the ground are also huge. I think had the administration said, hey, listen, we want to rebuild our bunkers and we want to rebuild our this and the other, and it's going to require us to remove these current above ground structures, there may have been a deeper conversation and access point. But I think the idea that we were going to put up a ballroom as the reason why we're doing this is because the delusionalness of people who thought that a ballroom was going to
Ooh.
inspire people in America is why we exist in this particular space. But I would say to you that the next administration should probably rebuild every structure that was there, even if they continue to build these secure structures underground.
Mhm.
Above ground, go back to the First Lady's East Wing.
Yeah. Mike says I've been alarmed for years now. The one that really did it for me was Charleston. Actual veterans wearing a screaming eagle patch carrying a swastika flag. Let me tell you something. The Torchlight March. It's incredible. Um, this is I don't know what we're gonna do. Yeah,
Right.
Mike says the only thing that was missing was a good book burning. Ooh.
Yeah.
Winnie says, I heard Stephen Miller talking about revamping the Disability Act, allegedly. You, oh my God. And Mike says, yes, the disabled will now make you third rate at best. So they're looking for the poor, disabled, old, too young. I don't know if you're
It's to
on paying
criminalize it.
attention to where, yes.
To criminalize it. To be disabled would be to be criminal. To be whatever would be to be criminal. And therefore, if you're a criminal, then we can force you into work. To
Yeah.
be homeless, right? We already saw that. To be homeless
It's
is to be
equivalent. Yes.
criminal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so now we can take the homeless and put them into work camps.
Mm-hmm. Laura says the dynamic pricing has started in some Walmart stores and people are hot about it. What is the dynamic pricing, Laura? I don't
That's
know.
where you pick up an item, and as you go through the store, it may change from $1.39 to $1.40. So by the time you get, yeah, and the dynamic price is put out in digital form, so you see it digitally. They have this in New Jersey, and actually, I will tell you for your joy that on City Council block schedule is the idea to block dynamic pricing in Philadelphia, so that you could do that. I think it's probably going to get a federal challenge anyway because you are false advertising and you're changing prices. And so, what we'll say is this: let's say that there are five Gatorades on a door in the freezer. If someone picks up one Gatorade, it may not change the price. But let's say that you pick up three Gatorades, all of a sudden the price will go from $1.35 to $1.40 for the fourth Gatorade. This is a problem. And what they're doing is they're saying, well, this is a object which is in demand, and so now we can change the price on that to meet the
That's
demand. But this is
crazy, David.
it's crazy, crazy. And I think it should be challenged right now in the law. If you see something advertised for $1.39 and you pick it up and go to the counter and they say it's $1.50, they either have to give it to you for free or give it to you for the $1.39. Right. So if you advertise in a store, let's say that you get a coupon that says that you can come here and buy one, get one free, and all they have is one. The one that was supposed to be free, you get for free. So you don't have to pay for the one that was there. Right. Because that's false advertisement and the law is protected. This now dynamic pricing, which is happening in New Jersey, is being actively looked at by council members in Philadelphia. And should they be reelected, will be a part of their I think, I mean, this will come up this such a year. So in the election year, it'll be happening.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sharon says, true. Unfortunately, I was in a car accident last night. They were able to determine I was not at fault. I'm struggling with it, though. Someone was hit. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, honey. Really, really. Tracy says, Big Brother is always watching. Dehumanized and demonized. Mike, yep, Mike's been in the service. He knows. Viola says, emergency service don't ask you to show your ID. Just your date of birth. Monica says this is not new. I have been able to track her since cell phone. They have been able to track her since cell phones began being carried long before that, girl. Long before the cell phones. It's just gotten much easier, much simpler now, and with
Oh,
AI.
something came to mind just now. Could you look up on Google machine that was shut down, the name of the machine that was shut down on June 19th? This is actually the machine which created the ability for us to internet link and track people. But it is a mass, it's between France and Switzerland, I believe. It is a mass geomagnetic machine which changes polarization and has been able to, for nanoparticles. What does it say? See
The
something?
Large Hadron Collider at CERN is scheduled to shut down on June 19th, marking the start of long shutdown. 3
Sure.
LS3. This is not a routine maintenance period. It is a major multi-year upgrade to prepare the machine for the high luminosity era.
So many of the storms, issues, and X, Y, and Z that we've been having have happened since this machine has been turned on. It's been turned on for an extended amount of time, and it shifts the polarization of things as it tests things. It's about 17 kilometers underground of machine between France and Switzerland, I believe. Is that correct? Yeah, I think so.
So
It's showing
so
too.
so the earthquakes that have happened almost like in a
Storms, all
circle
of that.
from across the world, the hurricanes that are now up to category 6 and 7, unheard of. We keep saying that this is not natural, and we have to figure. David, you have to come back on this week. I got my other guests are waiting, waiting in the waiting room. There is just too much. It's too much to discuss. And so people believe that it's there's global warming, yes, but I believe that they're messing with the weather. I do. We're expected to have 111 degrees temperature Wednesday, Thursday,
Oh,
Friday.
it was 110 in England. They just had a heat wave
Where
where
it's
people were
always
going, "What in
cool
the?"
and wet and cold.
They're
David.
trying to recreate the bang, the Big Bang. This is the whole study that was done with this. But this machine is the machine which is
Ooh,
responsible, as scientists there, I think in 1970 something, maybe 71,
baby.
was able to discover that in order for scientists to send information back and forth more quickly, they used this whole facility, which was created, by the way, in the 1950s.
This
And
is
they used this facility to create the internet. And so this same advanced facility has been tracking, but now they have some issues that they have to be able to repair. It's going to take them 2 years to repair this. And the question is, will the earth begin to heal itself in those 2 years? Will we stop having the amount of fighting, the animosity, the wars, the craziness, whatever else in that shift? What does that look
yeah,
like?
because that magnetic shifts also impacts our brains, the way
That's
we
right.
behave and carry
Your
ourselves.
inward
Absolutely.
body and all of your atoms, which are magnetic, rotate at the same axis at the same time that the Earth rotates. So when you destroy the Earth's magnetic natural axis, you're also now tempering with the water levels in your period and on the axis in which your magnetic field works. So all of these things are being discussed as a conversation now. What will be happening in the
Ooh.
next 2 years, but also what damage has been done, while most people in the world never knew that this machine even existed.
Yeah, so Mike is saying no, 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 no. The LHC is not nearly that old. And he says CRN is not that old. We got to do some more reading. Okay, Mike, we're going to do some more reading
I
about.
think the date, if you pull it up there, I think the date should be that the facility was created in 1959, I believe. And I believe that the machine was turned on 6 years ago for the first time for a period of time.
Ooh,
Is
it
that, is
sure
that,
did. Sure
there
did
it
say
is.
it. Yep.
1959. This is technology that was built with the Germans. So, what you'll know about American history as well, if you want to Google that too, is that when Nazi Germany was dissolved, many of the geniuses that had been collected across had been given asylum in America in
Ooh.
order to actually explain some of this nanotechnology. And so they were given cover. So we actually brought a lot of the Nazis to America who were scientists to be able to help us with our technology, knowing what was being created in Europe at the time.
Ooh.
So yes, the facility has existed, I think, since 1959, and the
So
machine was turned on roughly 6 years ago.
so this text was sent to me that many other folks in the UK do not have air conditioning because they didn't need it. Same way in
They never
different
needed
parts
it.
of the country, all the way over in the western end of the country, those things are happening. We're in a trying time. People are going to die. David, I gotta say goodbye to you at 7:30. I gotta let these other people in. Love you, my darling. We'll talk soon. Woo!
Yes,
Wow. All
yes.
right, we have another guest, another couple of guests coming in that I want to speak with you guys about, and I'm looking forward to this. My God, that was a great conversation this morning. My 8 o'clock guest is yeah, yep. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Can you
How are
hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we could hear you great.
Thank you for waiting. It's been a hot show. We are getting ready to have this conversation now. Is anyone else joining us here?
Tim should
Tim,
be.
right? Because it says Tim O'Russ, Dennis
Yeah.
Blue, and Angela Blue. Dennis Blue and Angela Blue are the owners of Chili Boat Adventures Philly. I heard this thing and I was like, I'm going to be there. And I'm dragging all my friends with me. Coach Tim O'Russ is a dance fitness coach, wellness ambassador, cultural curator, and recording artist. Chili Boat Adventures Phillies brings pedal powered chili boat tours to the Schuylkill River in Philadelphia. The company offers guided sightseeing trips and fitness focused water bike workouts that combine low impact exercise with waterfront views of the city. And so we're going to talk about the Land and Water Wellness Fest that's getting ready to happen on July 12th from 12 to 5 p.m. at the Spruce Street Harbor. Let's go because my people are interested. Tell us about it.
So this is the first, and we look at it being the first annual. It's amazing. It's unique of its sort to come to Spruce Street Harbor to Penn's Landing. So it's a Land and Water Wellness Fest. It's going to be jam packed with a bunch of activities. You're going to get Swift Fit with the lift power lift challenges. You have Groove Camp with dance challenges. We have yoga. We have Reiki. We just added
You
line
have
dance.
you have Reiki too?
Reiki, we have line dancing, um, and we are having the chili boat races, the first chili boat races, which there'll be a featured race that's an influencer one. So we have some prominent people in the city, in the fashion industry, the fitness community, and even from the city, from the Department of Commerce and the creative economy, teaming up to race on the water.
Yes, yes. So what does one have to do? Oh God, I'm getting ahead of myself. What made you get involved with this? The chili boat adventures.
Oh, chili boats, this one.
So tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about it, Dennis.
So my cousin showed me a video. It's probably about 8.5, 9 years ago.
Hmm.
We went to Puerto Rico, and we're actually really good friends with the distributors there now. And it was a video of these boats, and I think they had just started their location there. And we were taking a trip to the Bahamas. I think it was like maybe for a trip before our anniversary, or before our engagement or anniversary. And when we went, I asked, I said, "Do you have any chili boats?" And they were like, "I don't know what is that." So I ended up reaching out to the company, and the person I was speaking to was the actual creator of the product. I didn't know that for a while, and we built a real good relationship. And I was like, "This is something I would love to do in the Bahamas. It's
Hmm.
always here."
Hmm.
Uh, so we went through the process of getting the permits, the license. There, you have to partner with local Bohemian that's there, and yeah, kept building that relationship, and brought it over to the Bahamas.
Hmm.
Contract to be the distributor, and here we are. We came back and have the opportunity now to help open up the U.S. market.
Are you local to Philadelphia?
Yes,
I'm born and raised.
yeah, I
He's
was imported.
that's what I say. I
Yeah,
imported him
yeah,
in. He came over from Jersey, but
You imported from Jersey.
yeah,
So
yeah,
this is excellent. Mr. Man Frisbee, who was a dear friend of mine, said, Andrea, I see you because weightlifting, I lift the weights, I love cycling. I was like, you want me to get on a what in the river? He's like, Andrea, I promise you, you're not gonna get wet because the Schuylkill River is a little interesting.
yeah.
But there's so much to do. How did you get involved with this for at the Spruce Street Harbor on July 12th, July 13th, I believe?
well,
12th, the Sunday, correct?
Yep.
Sunday,
Sunday,
July
July 12th. Okay. How
12th.
did how did you get involved with it? And then I want you to tell people what it costs to attend. I'm excited, y'all, because I'm coming. I already bought my ticket. What it
Okay.
costs to attend and what can people look forward to?
Well, we were just even doing our businesses as chili boats. We realized how many people were able to get a workout
Yeah,
from it and just
and have
enjoyed
fun.
having fun
Mhm.
getting out. And so, being new to Spruce Street Harbor, we looked at the location and said, this would be great to do a festival and connect with other great businesses that are in health and wellness,
Mhm.
and really just get people inspired and let people have fun, you
Yes.
know, out. And so went ahead and put in a call to my friend Timo Russ, and he went and was all on board and started making the calls and pulling together all of the different connects in the fitness community, and it came together.
Yeah,
It
I'm
came
loving
together,
it.
and Spruce Street Harbor was just excited to do this in something
I'm
new.
sure they were. I am
They,
so sure they were. This is huge.
yeah,
yeah.
it's big.
Huge.
Delaware River, for Delaware River waterfront.
Yeah.
And
So
it's
go
family
ahead.
friendly too. It's family friendly because
Yes.
kids tickets today for 25, and adult tickets right now are at 45. Your ticket, there is also some discounts going around and discount codes, so you can check our social medias
Mhm.
for that. But the ticket is going to give you access to participate in all of the activities.
Ah, okay. Even the chili boat.
Even the
Even
chili
chili boat.
boats, you can
So for
sign.
$45, I get to roam all around this place and do what I want to do. This is
You
amazing.
you get to race in a
Yeah, you
chili
get to
boat.
do a chili
You
boat
get to
race.
race. So it'll be first come, first serve on that. So you want to get there early. You want to be there for the full day. So don't
Yeah.
be late. You want to be there. It's starting at 12 o'clock, and you don't want to miss anything because there's going to be a lot. We even have booty bands going on.
What
Activity.
bands?
Booty
Booty bands.
bands.
What's that?
So booty bands, it's a exercise activity with the stretch bands, and so it's a dance, another form of a dance fitness activity as
Oh.
well. Um, and great companies that are
Hmm.
coming for this.
Hmm.
Uh, Pretty Girls Run is doing
Hmm.
the line dancing.
City Girls Run. Yes, yes, yes. Let me ask you this. Someone just asked this. She says that she's driving. What is a chili boat?
What is a chili boat?
Yes.
So technically, it's a bike that's on two pontoons. It's a bike on water. So if you think about it, it's you have two different models. You have
Yes.
a upright model, which is like riding a regular bike, and then you have a
Uh-huh.
rail for the relaxation. We also have a two-seater, which you can interchange the frames. So yeah, yeah,
Oh,
you
I
want.
love it. I'm willing to get on the Schuylkill River just for this because I love riding my bicycle. So this is amazing. Okay. Everybody's asking for link information because we're all going to be down there. I don't know if Spruce Street Harbor is going to be able to hold all of us. You're going to sell 45 tickets like ants out here. You hear what I'm telling you? We all want to be a part of this. Is there weightlifting too?
There
Yes,
is
yes,
SwiftFit. SwiftFit has the weightlifting. That's how we're getting the day started.
yeah,
We're getting the day. SwiftFit's getting the day started with the powerlifting challenges,
hmm,
and there's medals.
yeah,
This
yeah.
isn't just a regular competition. You
Wait,
actually
So
so
actually,
wait, so wait. I'm checking because I just put a muscle in my neck. I gotta get this right, which is I got 2 weeks. I got 2 weeks.
where
Whoo,
you go
I'm loving this.
the Zen area. We're gonna have the Zen area at the barges.
yes,
So you go to the main stage. We have live DJs that are going to be. We have Illmatic, DJ Turok.
hmm,
So you're going to have live DJs to your workout.
yes,
You know,
Wow.
workout. You're going to go get some Zen. You're going to work your legs out and race in a chili
I
boat,
am
and
loving.
then you're going to come back over to the main stage and party the rest of the festival away.
I'm
hmm,
gonna see if I can get my trainer to come. Just bring all of us to this thing, this event, and that's our workout for the day. Because ain't no way I'm gonna work out with him and then come to this. That's not happening in these Waconda streets. He's just gonna miss me on that Sunday. Um, where can people get tickets? Because they're asking.
All right. So on Instagram, we have started the Land and Water um, Festival page.
hmm,
So you,
Land and Water Festival page.
yes. So Land and Water. Actually,
wellness.
it's actually Land and Water Wellness Festival. So
Okay.
that you want to make sure that if you're on social media on there, follow that page. We're also on Facebook, the same page. Our site is Chili Boats, and now Chili is Chili,
Dot com.
chiliboatsphilly.com.
Chiliboatsphilly.com.
.com.
There it
And
is.
it's all posted in the bios of the social media.
All right, I'm looking. I just went on. I'm on here. I just want to see what the. No, okay, that is the coolest looking thing. I'm sorry. Yo, I need everybody. Now, what do I need to? Let me ask you this. But oh, there's Timo. Timo. Good morning. We started the conversation before without you. How are you?
I'm great. Good morning. How are you?
Oh my God, the chili boats look amazing. So, thank you for joining us, Timo.
Thank you for having me.
What do we need to do to sign up for the chili boats early? Like, I want to be on a chili boat. What do I need to do to sign up for a chili boat early? I'm serious now.
Well, you're gonna need to be on time for
Yeah,
the
he got to be on
festival.
time.
So the
Yeah.
Come,
festival. Well, listen, I'm Jamaican. We'll get there at 11. No problem. We'll
okay,
we'll
good.
get there at 11 because I really want to do this. This is amazing. So you're not giving special stuff to the because I know I know the officials here in Philly be like, I'm so and such, and I need to be able, I need regular people to be able to get a boat.
Be on
Be on
time
Thank
time.
you,
and
my sister.
sign up.
David says I will be on that boat. Come on, David. When I tell you, Mr. Man Frisbee called me. He says, can you have these people on? My folks are about the business. So they will share this and you'll watch your ticket sales go up today. Go get your tickets, y'all. Um, Laverne says, I'm trying to see if I can include this in my 49 or 50 things I never did. I don't think any of us have ever been on a chili boat. So we're going to do this. It is Sunday, July 12th. It is the day before our Black Girl Spa adventure on Monday. Go work yourself out so you can go in the spa and lay yourself out. I'm looking forward to it. Timo, thank you for joining us. I'm excited. I'm a sister that loves to hike and to ride my bicycle and to lift weights. So when Mr. Man Frisbee brought it to my attention, I'm like, yo, this is a way for us to get all together. Even if you're not active doing all of this kind of stuff, this is a way to pull Philly together for a fun, family-friendly activity, right? So tell me about your part in this.
Yeah, well, shout out to him. Shout out to Mr. Man Frisbee for
Mhm.
connecting us all.
Yeah.
My
Thank
segment is called Groove Camp, which is a hip hop step aerobics class. So we're gonna have a cardio concert. So you're gonna be able to get your groove on, burn some calories, and it's not gonna feel like a workout. We're gonna do some stepping. We're gonna do some extreme hip hop.
Are y'all listening to this?
Yeah, it's a cardio concert. Remember them two
This is
words. It's a
great.
cardio concert.
Cardio concert. Now, what if you like me and can't dance? I can't dance. I can lift weights. I can't dance.
That's all right. That's all
Okay.
right. As long as you can you two step? You do a
Yes.
little 1 2?
Yes. I
Okay.
can.
If you
I
could two
can.
step, that's all you need to be able to do.
Okay. Okay. You know what I'd like to do? I'd like to bring you guys back on before the July 12th. I'm so excited about this. Someone says there are levels of tickets. What's the difference in the level ticket pricing?
you.
Want me to
Said.
go? So
Go ahead, go. I'm sorry.
currently the only difference would be general admission. So if you see it on the website, it's showing you what the next level of pricing would be. So it's currently $45. And then there's also a children's ticket because we also are going to have activities for children as well.
Mm-hmm.
I want to tell you, we just added some fun. All right. We just added Pilates into the mix. So with these tickets, it's like a fitness festival. You get
Right.
access to all different types of activities, all
Okay.
different types of workouts, including the one and only viral chili boats. And for this ticket, you get access to all types of movement.
Okay. So there's only two ticket prices, one for the children and one for adults, correct?
That's correct. If you see anything that's more advanced, that's just what the price will go to, just based on demand in the future.
So y'all better go ahead and buy them tickets now.
They hot. They
Yeah.
hot. Buy it now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got my ticket. I got my ticket through Mr. Man Frisbee. I went online and bought it right away. I think I got it cheaper than everybody else. See, y'all better go get them tickets. Charmaine says cardio concert. Tracy says I'm in there. Laura says, oh hell yeah, I love me some step. Alexandra says now that I can do. You see how you got the people excited? Right? And in a time when we're all so sluggish, so many of us are so sluggish from the horrible foods that we're being fed and not moving enough, you can give people great ideas on how to keep moving so that they can, elevate their cardio sessions and do what they're supposed to do. I'm turning 60 next year. I'm
Okay.
looking forward to this. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to this.
You don't look that. Great job to you.
Say,
I know.
don't look like good.
Listen, I be drinking my water, eating properly, doing all that needs to be done to stay healthy. And so I'm excited about this in a way. How can I help you continue to promote this? When I tell you, every week I'm on my social media pages, I'm riding my bicycle, sometimes 20, 30, 40 miles. We get in the gym and we lift weights. I ordered my 40 and 50-pound kettlebells in here so I can lift when I can't go to the gym. We get on the stairmaster. Like, I'm constantly trying to motivate people to move, because that is what is most helpful in a time like this when we're so damn stressed, right? It helps to relieve the stress. It helps to keep our cortisol levels down, all the things. If I sound like I am excited, it's because I am. It's because I am. It's an opportunity for us to move and do it in a fun and exciting way. So you've got my commitment that you can come back on next week before this event. Hopefully, how many tickets you have for sale? Because Jesus, the people will come now. Do you have a limit on these tickets?
It looks like people are buying tickets as we
I
talk.
told you about my
Yeah,
audience. They don't play. My audience will not play with you. They will show up, and you watch them ticket prices spike, the sales spike throughout the day, because it's something people want to do. Let me see. Charmin says cardio concert. Alexandra, oh, Essence says that is cool. Cardio concert. Dolores says sounds great. Oh, Shamika says I'm going to see if my son wants to do this for his 20th birthday.
What's up, everybody? Yeah, all ages.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can come on out, and that's the
Yeah.
most important part about it, is the community. So everyone's gonna be
Yeah.
working out together, all levels, beginner friendly, and then some of the time you're not even gonna feel like you're working out. You're just gonna be
That's the
grooving
part,
it
Timo.
and
That's the part
be
I
working
want them to get.
calories.
Yes, just move, right? Laverne says, do you need to know how to swim? Nah, girl. They're going to put a thing on you.
Don't even touch the water.
You do not get wet.
Yeah.
What?
You
No.
do not get wet.
You do not get wet.
Only if you're sweating.
Yeah,
right.
that's it.
You only
That's
get
it.
wet if you're sweating. That's it.
You will not.
Laverne says, don't. Alexandra says, don't play with us. We're going to show up. This audience, I'm telling you, I put out a thing on Facebook asking who wants to go to the beach. 100 and something people showed up to go to the beach. One post. And so when people trust you as a voice of helping them to navigate and to move and to grow and to learn, they will. So you hear them this morning, them tickets are going to go like hotcakes today, because we all want to come together to do this. So thank you.
And you'll meet new people too.
Mm-hmm.
The community that'll be built out of that day is
Yes.
going to be great.
Oh, yeah.
Take the time, you're exercising, you're having fun, but you're going to meet new communities of people. It's going to bring you together.
Yeah. Laverne says, I have questions. I want to do it, but I need details. My Capricorn girl, get your behind out. You will not get wet. They will I'm sure you'll put on one of those vests just in case your behind fall off the thing. But you'll be fine.
Tell her from Capricorn to Capricorn. She'll be all right.
You're Capricorn too.
Yeah.
And that's why you're able to see what I mean. We don't play them games. We do not play those games. And so this is great. And so from all fitness levels, and now you talked about the Zen space. Tell me a little bit about that.
So in the Zen space, we have different activities that are other ones from the yoga and the Reiki. There's Aquavita.
Mm-hmm.
There's again, have you ever tried yoga on a supboard? Yoga on the water.
Mm-hmm.
Yoga on the wall. I can't. This is going to be great. Timo, they're very excited about this dancing, child, because black people love to dance.
Tim's gonna make you dance.
Tim's gonna make you sweat.
Oh,
Be grooving. It's like Billy Blanks and Richard Simmons and LL Cool J and MC Hammer all in one.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be a vibe. We taking it back. That's what we doing.
I don't know how the hell y'all came to this conclusion to bring this to Philadelphia, but when I say Philadelphia needs this, we need this. There's so much angst and anxiety all across the country. We're feeling it. Everybody. Marguerite says this Capricorn already bought her ticket.
Marguerite.
Right? Yeah. This other one says, Common, good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, this is great.
Morning.
This is great. I love it. Guys, thank you so much. Tell them again how they
Thank
can
you.
find you to buy their tickets.
Good tip.
Go ahead, Tim.
Oh, sorry, I'm like, tag me in. You can go to our Instagram first. Give us a follow at Land and Water Wellness Fest. On that Instagram page, you'll see all of our companies listed, and you can hit the link in our bio there and grab your tickets. So if you're on
Yep.
Instagram, if not, we're on Eventbrite and we're on Posh. If you search Land and Water Wellness Fest, we are the only event of its kind in the tri-state, so we should pop right up.
Mhm.
You're the only event of its kind. Let me ask you this last question. I have one more guest coming on, and it's going to be a sober topic. I'm so glad you're like right here in the middle where we can have this dialogue. Do you understand how huge this is?
Yeah,
You do.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Do you understand that this is something that we as a people in general, this could be in Pittsburgh, this could be all around the country. This we're like we all need this right
Oh,
now.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to
Yeah.
touch on that because I'm sober. That's kind of how I got to this part is, I wanted to heal myself and I healed myself through movement and working out. And I was trying to think about how can I incorporate a bunch of different activities to get my family to work out. My mother takes these classes, my cousins take these classes. So, when it comes to being holistic and trying to figure out other things to stay active, for me, that was the inspiration. So, this is definitely something to where if you're trying to figure out, like, all right, I'm going through my sober journey and my wellness journey, how can I stay motivated? And that's really what this all came behind: community, doing something fun, and also just enjoying our city. You don't have to
Yeah.
leave the city to find fun. The
Yeah.
fun is right here within the city.
Timo, I'm grateful that you talked about your sober journey. I don't know what your journey is. I'm not even going to ask you, but the fact that you even acknowledged it is a lot for many, many people who are trying to figure out ways to navigate through whatever the hell it is that they're dealing with in that moment.
Yeah.
Right. And exercise is great therapy. There's so many benefits to it, to your body, to your mind, all of it. You want to say something, Dennis?
Yeah, I want to reiterate on what Tim was saying. My, if I would say, sober journey is with through fitness, and being able to have the opportunity to team up with Tim, and being one of the very few black owned water sport companies is is huge, because it's not too many of us on it's not too many of us. And being able to do this and have a product that's a brand new product is major, and be able to promote health and wellness. So for us to all come together and create something as big as this is truly a blessing.
For me, it's different. I will be 50 next year,
Mhm.
and I'm going through perimenopause.
Girl, the
Deal
blood.
with that and changes with your body.
Yes.
Um, Being even more fit before, and the changes that happen now, and just trying to, this for me is just going to help me regain me.
Yeah.
It's going to be a part of that. And there was a layer that I had wanted to add in it, that I'm starting to ask people, for this. What are you doing this for? Who are you lifting for? Who are you racing for? Who are you dancing for?
Mhm.
Are you're doing it for yourself? But we have so many people close to us who have gotten sick or
Yep.
battling things that can't get out there and do what we're going to be able to do on that day. So maybe you're coming out and you're doing this for that family member who
Mhm,
can't lift and can't dance and can't go
mhm,
get on the wheelie boat that day. Or maybe you're doing it for the new you in that
mhm,
new direction and the health that you need, So
Overcoming the
who are
fear.
right, overcoming a fear. We have so many people who come out on the boats who have a fear of water,
Who never
and
rode a bike
or never rode a bike
on land.
before, or something like that. People who still get surprised at seeing a lot of black people on the
Yeah,
water,
yeah.
yeah,
um,
yeah,
it, it's that's the other part to this, is to
yeah.
that inspirational and that special point of every activity you partake in that day, you know every activity, it's going
And
to mean
Angela, you said something that triggered me inadvertently, and I didn't know that this was going to happen. And I never acknowledged it before today. So it just hit me that I exercise the way I do, and I've been doing this now for a couple of decades, going back and forth. My mother was diagnosed with diabetes and succumbed to it, to stuff from it. She did all that she was supposed to do, was on our insulin, et cetera, et cetera. But when I was diagnosed, she said to me, "Don't you dare get on that medication. You want to do this through fitness and wellness." I never correlated what that meant until you said it just now. It triggered it for me. So I've never been on medication for diabetes. My doctors are still falling the hell out. 5.4, 5 point. Like I'm no longer considered diabetic, but I am chasing the wellness to keep my kidneys and my liver and all that other stuff from shutting down, so that I don't have the same fate as many of my family members. So all of us have a why. All of us has a why. I'm so, Lord Jesus, I'm coming. I'll be there at 11 o'clock.
And I wanted to touch on something too as
Yes.
well, because we also have some wonderful partners that are
Mhm.
also Black entrepreneurs and Black
Mhm.
business owners. We got Swift Fit Gym. Uh,
Mhm.
that is the home of many professional athletes. They're located
Mhm.
in Port Richmond. We're
Mhm.
legitimately going to have a weight combine competition. Coach Swift is going to be bringing the weights out there. Coach Swift, if you see this man, he's someone to look up to. He's
Yeah.
about 56 years old. Don't
Mhm.
even look it. Jack looking like a superhero, and he's been the home of a lot of youthful people. A lot of athletes have come out of there, professional NFL athletes. And then we also have Ant Phillips of Men's Night Run Club, who's going to be our
Mhm.
MC, who leads weekly runs. So we also have two other partners I wanted to highlight and thank them as well, who've been a
Yeah.
part of this promotion from the
Yeah.
beginning. So you have all aspects of wellness and all
Mhm.
aspects of Black entrepreneurship. It's definitely gonna be an amazing day.
Yeah. Yeah. People are excited. I cannot say thank you enough. Can you reach back out to my producer and tell him I need you back on next week, preferably on Friday, right? Just before the event on Sunday, so that people can get, hyped. Is there anything in particular that they should just wear? Fitness clothes. They don't have to go and do anything special, correct?
No,
Dress
dress
comfortable.
comfortable.
Fitness
That's right.
clothes, comfortable,
Yeah.
clothing, and be very
Be,
stay hydrated.
yes.
Oh yes, y'all, water. That means water. For those of you who thinks a soda is water, water.
Looks like you folks in the comments know about Coach Swift. That's right.
Yes, that Cole Swift's son played for the Eagles. Yes. Oh,
That's
these
he
people are man.
playing right there in the gym. He's a star
Yeah.
running back for the Chicago Bears. So all the same
Yes.
methods that
Yes.
the professional athletes went through, they can experience live at the Fitness
That's
Expo.
amazing.
Bunch of
That's
runs as well.
amazing. That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so, so much. It was a pleasure. Now go to at Land and Water Wellness Fest on Instagram. You'll find them and all the social media pages. The only thing of its kind happening in the tri-state area. Make sure you go look on Eventbrite, Land and Wellness Fitness Fest. You should find it. Philly will show up for you. Congratulations to all of you for what promises to be a wonderful event. And my little black behind will be right there, front and center. I appreciate you. Power to the
Yeah.
people. Power to the people. Thank
Awesome.
you
Thank you.
all so much. Have a good day. Okay. See you soon.
Thank
All
you.
Peace
right. Bye
and
bye.
love.
Bye bye.
All right.
Peace and love. Peace and love, Timo. Bye bye.
Bye.
My next guest is in the waiting room, so I have to let her in. I'll say goodbye to all of you. Bye bye. Bye bye. This show. Today's show, I said to my husband this morning, I said, I feel like I need to be a little extra cute today. That's today's show. Now we're getting ready to go into a sober topic, and I need you all to be prepared for it. If you're at work, put your headphones, your earbuds in, because this is going to be a good conversation. Let me let her in. Uh, did I let her in? What happened? There she is. Good morning, Kelly. There you go.
Hi.
Good morning, pretty lady. How are
Good
you?
morning. How are you?
It is so good to see you.
Likewise, you look amazing.
Oh, do you? Listen, I do not take it for granted that you are trusting in the conversation we're getting ready to have. That this is one where it'll be a safe space where we can talk about things. You get to talk about how you want to address what's going on. But I specifically asked you last week when we spoke, we need to talk about how do we protect children, right? So let me introduce you to the folks. What a show. Pastor Kelly Chappelle is a pastor at Lighthouse Ministries Church in Northwest Philadelphia, and the topic of conversation is surviving abuse. Pastor Kelly, go into the however you want to talk about this. I'm going to give you the space to discuss however you feel like talking about this.
Thank you, Andre. I really appreciate the time to be on here today. It's really a difficult topic, but one that I'm grateful that we're having. I'm absolutely feeling the angst and the pain. My phone has been ringing off the hook, just trying to figure out how do we, where do we go from here, right? I think one of the most important things, if I don't say anything else, with everything that I feel the Lord has given me to say, is that women, children, whomever is in this situation, you need to understand you're not alone, first of all, and it is not your fault.
False.
There is nothing that you've done to cause it. There's nothing that you could have done to change it. And we have to find a way to give them that safe space to be able to feel like they can talk to someone, that they can express what is absolutely going on. Good morning, Marguerite. That we can absolutely feel that they can feel the love and the security and safety.
Mm-hmm.
I want to take about maybe 3 minutes to share something that happened to me just this past week after I'd heard about, what was going on, praying absolutely for the victims. And, and I shared a little bit with you while we were talking and then in text. My husband and I were driving home, normal road. We drive it every day. It's the main road that leads out to the bigger road from where we live. And we were driving home. Out of nowhere, this deer, it may have even been a fawn because it didn't look really, really large, um, ran across the road, and my husband accidentally hit this fawn. And if you hit a deer, your car is just done.
Mm-hmm.
You can just
Mm-hmm.
forget it. Your car is
Mm-hmm.
done. And hit on my side. So I'm shook up and I'm upset. And of course, we were thinking, oh my God, what's going on with this car? Because he just bought this car a little while ago, maybe a few months ago. And so we got home. He immediately jumped out the car. I jumped out the car, and he looked at it, and a small bumper, part of the bumper was dislodged. Right.
Ain't God good?
God is good, but let me tell you something. God is even better when I give you the revelation of this.
Mm-hmm.
So he was able to pop the bumper back in, no damage to the car. We were absolutely able to, just continue to go on, no harm, no foul, right? Okay. So all day, once we figured out the car was okay, we, were talking about it, and I kept thinking about this deer. I wondered if the deer was okay. And I'm thinking we were kind of dismissive, and we said, well, since the car isn't too much damage, then probably the deer just kind of got, shook up a little bit and
I
went on
see
its
where
way.
you're going with
See where
this.
I'm going. Maybe the deer just got shook up and went on its way. I couldn't shake it. So my husband went to work the next day. He came, when he got home, he said the deer wasn't there. That next morning, I got up and I drove the same path, and I drove slowly, and I'm looking. And sure enough, when I turned and I looked, that deer was on the side of the road. It was bruised. It was mangled. It was bloody, and it had died alone on the side of that road. You see where I'm going?
I see where you're going.
And so I was so upset. I told my husband, I said, honey, we actually we killed that deer. And it wasn't even a deer, it was a fawn. It wasn't a full-size deer. And
Mhm,
my heart was just aching for this deer.
mhm,
And so, of course, there was nothing we could do about it. I drove by there several days after that.
mhm,
Everything in the news is swirling about everything that's going on
mhm,
here. And then I want to say this in a way that I'm not throwing any rocks or anything at what
mhm,
happened afterwards, but I think it all ties in.
mhm,
I was in a meeting that following, maybe that Friday or Saturday, and we were all talking about, as leaders, the main topic. I thought we were going to be addressing what was going on in the body,
mhm,
and to my dismay, we were talking more about how to institute some great ideas to build our church back. Because COVID hit, and a lot of the ministries lost a lot of folk. Um,
I need you to hold on one second, please. I need you to take a deep breath with me. On Monday or Tuesday of last week, the district attorney's office had a press conference that said two local pastors were arrested for heinous acts of child predator behavior towards children. Text messages were going back and forth with these pastors. There were more pastors involved in all of this. Babies, little boys in particular, were being sodomized, etc., etc. So I need to juxtapose that press conference to a meeting you had where they were talking about rebuilding the church membership after COVID, et cetera, et cetera. How much time was spent on discussing the abuse of children? How much time was spent on discussing the abuse of power some pastors carry in the body of Christ? Let me just be as plain as I can be.
So I don't know what conversations are going on outside. I don't know if they were having additional, but in the context of the one that I was on, we didn't spend any time talking about that. And
When you say
again,
we didn't spend any time talking about what was in the news.
what was in the news, correct? No, we didn't spend any time talking about that. Now, that evening, I was very grieved because I thought, my goodness, my expectations, maybe I had my expectations were displaced. I don't know. I just felt like the meeting should have focused at least on praying for those that were in a situation that needed some additional prayer, but nothing was discussed. And so that evening, like I said, it was a productive meeting, but I thought that maybe we should be talking about some other things, right? That's more relevant in the news right now
Mhm,
as it relates to
mhm.
our congregation.
Hey,
Oh
pretty
no.
baby. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. Um, that evening, I woke up in the middle of the night and I heard the theme that we were wrestling with during this conversation about filling the seats. And the theme was something like "No more empty seats." And I felt the Spirit of the Lord say, "No, at this point, I need my church to be about no more hurting my sheep,
Mm, mhm.
because that's how we're going to change this." The deer on the side of the road were all of the sheep that are
That are
hurting
being hurt and left for dead.
and
Yes.
left on the side of the
Mhm,
road.
mhm,
So we can't focus on God doing anything else, building
mhm,
anything else,
mhm,
bringing anything new until we go back and deal with what we've done.
mhm. And I know this is a sensitive topic, and you have a small child around you.
She's back upstairs, thank
She's back
goodness.
upstairs. Okay.
Mhm.
What do you think needs to be done to protect children? This is a personal story to you. for you in your own personal experience. And you're not the only one. There are many, many people I've interviewed people who have been raped by their fathers, who's the pastor in the church. I've interviewed people who, I had one mother and her daughter on that said, they accused the pastor of inappropriately touching her teenage daughter. The church called her and said, hand to God, you can't talk about it. Let this happen on the inside. Don't harm the man of God. You can't go to the police. Um, I reached out to the church. Of course, they didn't respond. In the last week, Pastor Kelly, I've had folks call me and say, we can't talk about this. It's too much, or we just can't acknowledge, et cetera, et cetera. Why is it that children, young people are so expendable in the body of Christ? And I say the body of Christ because these are churches, these are pastors, or pastors would say things like, this person has been a problem for a while. So why didn't we do anything to handle them? What do we need to do to keep ourselves and our children safe?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I would start by saying there's no accountability for leadership. There's none whatsoever. There's no accountability. Um, when you reach a point of becoming a pastor, you've reached that echelon that you are the giver and the keeper of the law. And I don't think that there's enough checks and balances within the body to keep us all accountable. I don't think that there is a safe. I think there should be a safe haven, a safe conduit, a safe space that every child knows within that body. If something happens, this is the path that you need to follow
Mm-hmm.
to address it. I don't know how to do it in a way because kids don't know, they can't fathom what this is until it's happened to them,
Right.
right? And so because they can't fathom, I think some of the things that we have to do as leaders is recognize changes in behavior,
Mm-hmm.
because I can guarantee you that when something like this happens to a child, immediately their personality shifts, their interest shifts, how
Mm-hmm.
they respond shifts,
Mm-hmm.
and we just kind of chalk it off as them going
Mm-hmm.
through a phase or something like that. I think we have to do a better job of discerning things that are happening with our children,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think that we have to also provide, whether it's in our Bible studies and our vacation Bible studies, whatever it may be, that real conversation, because that enemy is very, very cunning. That
Mm-hmm.
real conversation that these things are not right, and do it in a way that's more age appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
And that if something like this is happening, that you really are okay that to talk to someone,
Mm-hmm.
if you
Mm-hmm.
don't feel as if it's your mommy or your daddy or your
Mm-hmm.
pastor or your Sunday school teacher or your teacher at school, or a friend or someone to share that something happened and you don't feel right about it. Something
Mm-hmm.
happened and it made me feel yucky, whatever it may be, however it is
Mm-hmm.
in their term, they have to be able to have a means to share it. And I feel as if churches really need to put in some kind of safety mechanism ministry that allows these children, men, whomever, that are experiencing this abuse to have a means to be able to share it. I think as a whole, a collective whole, the church has to do that. We
Mm-hmm.
have to be able to say, okay, here's a number that you call. Here,
Mm-hmm.
it's an anonymous number. Like we have it for so many other things, but we
Mm-hmm.
don't have it in our church, a way for somebody to report, this is
Mm-hmm.
happening to me. I need
Mm-hmm.
for somebody to be able to interject. And then when you're talking about the babies, I mean, is difficult, it's hard, but there has to be a way to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that having these conversations, number one, I don't think everybody that says they're a pastor should be a pastor. I think that there has to be a way that we vet them even more. I mean, you can't stop it,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, but
Mm-hmm.
there has to be a way to vet people, that when they are a man or a woman of the cloth and they are responsible for souls, that somehow there's some accountability there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
needed.
Mm-hmm.
And every pastor needs a pastor, right? Everybody needs somebody over them that they're accountable for. But I think the premise of all of this is spiritual immaturity in the pulpit, right? If you're a pastor and you find that you're struggling in certain areas, who does he talk to? Who does she talk to
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
address those issues, to address those
Mm-hmm.
areas? right? But there is so interwoven. There's so many different things. I just really feel that as a for men and women that have a passion for this, to figure out some kind of means, some kind of way, some kind of hotline. I don't
Mhm,
know that they can call in and say, "Hey, yes, this happened to me," and then
mhm,
we follow the steps appropriately,
mhm,
not just assuming that the call is 100%
mhm,
true,
mhm,
right? Because we do know the enemy is very tricky. He's very, very
mhm,
cunning. So that's not necessarily, off with their heads if something like this happens,
mhm,
but follow through the process to
mhm,
ensure
mhm,
that these things don't happen and that they're not happening.
mhm.
So, that's one of the things that I absolutely feel can be something that we can institute. I don't think it's something that is just outreached, outreaching, far-fetched, right? Um, I think
How do we get, forgive me for,
oh, sure.
how do we get, I believe, just based on the conversations that I've been having over the last 7 days, that there are pastors who know who the problem pastors are.
Well, that's another thing too. And then think about this. The children that were even in this situation, they weren't even the ones that came forward. It was discovered through
Right.
phone, through someone else saw it.
Mhm,
So there's somehow I don't Andrea, I'm really at a loss because for me,
mhm.
it's grooming that
It
takes
is grooming.
it doesn't just happen automatically,
Mhm,
it's massaged in a way that you think that it's
mhm,
right, it's mental manipulation,
mhm,
spiritual intimidation, it's all of these
mhm,
factors that go into this, and
mhm,
it's absolutely vile, it's
mhm,
ungodly, it's
mhm,
unseemingly, and it's taboo. The
mhm,
conversations are taboo. We're
mhm,
not talking about it, but we have to. And
mhm,
I've shared my testimony on Facebook, and I just can't let it go anymore simply because it was so subtle. Like the enemy is so subtle and so crafty that you don't realize what's happening until you're dead smack in the thick of
mhm,
it. And
mhm,
so I think that how having those conversations with senior leadership, you know, quite candidly, we don't even know where their walk is. I think we have to start with a real candid, where am I? If
mhm,
I'm a faith leader and I'm leading all these folk and my walk isn't right, I got to deal with myself first.
mhm,
Because
mhm.
I can guarantee you that just like that deer was on the side of the road, God sees those sheep that we're leaving. God
Come
sees
on.
those folk that we are just leaving for wounded, leaving for dead, leaving
Mhm,
destitute, leaving, some of them end up doing all kinds of things as a result of it. God sees those and his heart is
mhm,
crying for those. Those
mhm,
are the ones we need to focus on. They're the ones we need to go back and reach. Those are the ones we need to go back and say, what happened? Why did
mhm.
you leave? What's
Right.
going on in your life? Why are you spiraling out of control? What can
Mhm,
we do? What actually happened? If nothing happened, where are you right now? How can
mhm.
we fix this? How can we fix a broken system?
But Dr. Chappelle, that's what church should be.
Right.
Church has become, in my estimation, a space in so many instances where it's a celebrity. Separate celebrity. My pastor has the largest congregation. My pastor's doing this. I'm thinking of Eddie Long, Bishop Eddie Long, right? Um, and people had known for years that he had predilection towards boys, men, got married, all the things that are going on in the church. And they keep saying the people are leaving the church. Well, there's so much hurt and trauma that comes out of the body because we have leadership that are doing these kinds of things and that just never been held accountable. Is there anybody in the church at the top, at the highest levels, that says this is what we've come up with, and if a pastor or prelate, whatever, is found to have been doing these kinds of things, we not only remove them immediately, or is it that we have so many mom and pop churches popping up all over the place that everybody put out a shingle that says I'm pastor of whosoever? You understand what I'm saying? Am I
I think
making
it's
sense?
a compilation. I think it's a compilation. One thing I absolutely want to make sure that I say is I don't think it's all pastors.
Yeah,
I think
yes,
there are a
yes.
lot of great men
Agreed.
and women of God that are doing some phenomenal things in the
Mhm,
kingdom. I think that unfortunately, their voice is not as loud as the ones that are not. And I think that's the problem. The ones that, and I don't think that everyone that has a large threshold or
mhm.
a large congregation, that they're outside of the will of God either. But
Agreed.
I think that because of, when something like this happens, it is absolutely magnified,
Mhm,
that and
mhm,
it brings to light that there are so many things that are hidden that
mhm,
we don't discuss,
mhm,
that now it stands to reason that we have to. And so
mhm,
I think that those men and women of God that are in positions of prominence, that are highly respected and regarded, have to really now take a real cold look and say, we have to start addressing this, and everybody that is actually under them. Because generally, when they're at that level, they have multiple pastors and multiple churches and
mhm,
multiple ministries under them.
mhm,
Having those conversations with those lay pastors, what's going on in your churches? How can we help? How can we assist? Where are you struggling?
mhm,
What are your congregations saying?
mhm,
What are they feeling? If you're feeling the pain or the angst of lost membership, let's do a deeper dive. Let's not talk about how we're going to get new members. Let's kind of dig a little deeper dive of why are they not
they're
coming
not
back?
coming. Yes,
Because they left for a reason. COVID didn't just
absolutely.
stop them. COVID gave them a way, a means to now still be able to get to work. I could just log in, I could hear what I
Mhm,
need to do, and I'm going about
mhm,
my business, but they're
mhm,
not coming to the fellowship,
mhm,
right? So there's a reason why that we're not addressing. And before God's bringing brand new sheep, He's going to make us address what we've done, right? And I
absolutely.
said that earlier. But so these pastors in these leadership positions that have these smaller mom and pop ministries. I'm a mom and pop pastor. Okay. I got a small little ministry. I'm well known within Philadelphia, but my ministry is small. I'm not high echelon, right? I'm not one of these. I'm not a bishop. I'm a pastor.
Mhm,
Bishops that have all of these churches under them, then I think we need to have these kind of conversations to say,
mhm,
okay, where am I struggling? Where am I struggling as a pastor? Where am I struggling in my home, in my marriage, in my
mhm,
finances, right?
mhm,
Because we can always find gimmicks and schemes to put on a facade that we're effective and that we're meaningful. But the proof is in the sheep that you lost.
mhm.
You're as effective as your weakest
Yes,
member.
yes.
And if your members are not there, and if they're leaving in droves, and there's no reason, you can't fathom why they're coming back,
Mhm.
there's accountability that we're not addressing,
Dressing.
right?
Yeah. I have one more question for you, and this is around families and how they address when children come to
Mm.
say, I have been touched by so and so, particularly in the church when we believe in the man or the woman of God. What would you like to say to families who are listening now about this?
That's a wonderful question, and it's of course dear to my heart.
Hmm.
I think the first thing you have to do is listen. You have to listen, and not listen with offense, and not
Hmm.
listen to a position of worrying about what what is going to happen to you personally, but your child
Hmm.
is sharing something that is very important, right?
Hmm.
Um, and believe them,
Hmm.
believe them, because if you think about it, a child doesn't really come up with that kind of
Right.
in there. We're not wired to think about that. So if a
Hmm.
child is coming to you saying somebody did something, because they've never even been exposed to that,
Hmm.
should be the reason, for no other reason, should
Hmm.
be why you should listen. Because that's not something that they're exposed to. It's not something that we allow in our household. It's not something that they see on a day to day. So
Hmm.
there's something absolutely there. And then from that point, you have to be able to share that information with people that you trust,
Hmm.
because we have to build a trust network. There's no
Hmm.
trust network in the body.
Hmm.
There
I
has to be
agree.
a way for that mother, that
Mhm.
auntie, that
Yes.
uncle, that stepmom to say, "Hey, my child said this. We need to explore it further." And
Mhm.
then back in the day, it was open forum. You everybody came up into the church.
Amen. Well, let's discuss. And
Let's
now all of a sudden it's this fear around touch not the man or the woman of God. And, the scriptures are being used to frighten people. Uh, do you think there is some solution that will be helpful to children, or do we just keep our children away on some levels? Like Enon is a really large congregation, but Pastor Waller and I talked about this several times last week. It was like, okay, and he addressed it in the pulpit, but there were other pastors who were dead
Yes.
silent.
Hmm.
And so then you begin to wonder, it's a natural wonder, are you complicit in this? Are you just don't want to talk about this? If I'm coming to your church and I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you and you will not address something that has impacted hundreds of thousands of people, we're not doing anything. Marguerite says, for those who have had the violation either current or in the past, how can we help them?
Is that a question for me?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. I think that first and foremost, um, nobody's above the law. No one's above the law.
Mhm.
If this has happened, and until the church reaches a point that they absolutely institute measures to address it,
Mhm.
the law has to be involved. It just
Mm.
absolutely does.
Mhm.
Now, I personally feel that in my situation,
Mhm.
if I felt I never felt like I could tell somebody to the point where I was being protected. And it's the protective mechanism that's not in place.
The protector.
The protection is not there. So we have to protect our
Mhm.
children.
Mhm.
I have no problem with doing background checks
Yeah.
for anybody that's around children.
Mhm.
Simply because you're in a church doesn't mean, you should be able to have access to these children.
Absolutely. But oftentimes the background checks don't reveal anything because they've gotten away with doing it with nothing in place, that they've just moved on from church to church or from child to child. And so I want to caution people that while the background check is a beautiful thing, your discernment is even better, because
Your
they can
discernment
pass
is better.
every background check and you're looking at them going, some not quite.
Right. Right. And I think the key word you just said as well, discernment is key.
Yes.
Sometimes we see little creepy, uncle looking at the kids and creepy little deacon,
Yep.
looking at children. I think they need to be checked.
Absolutely.
Why are you even in this space? You're not even a
Mhm.
part of this ministry. Why are you here
Mhm.
with these kids?
Mhm. Mhm. I remember
There's so
being
many, there's so many things that we don't do, that we do in the world, that we
Mhm.
don't do in our churches.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was at a wedding a few years ago and the father of the bride walked over to one of the tables and said, this is so and so, my daughter's friend, and she was a fine young thing as a child, and she's even a finer young thing as an adult, and everybody sat at the table stiff as a board. And I looked up like Sophia from The Color Purple and said, that was nasty. You should be ashamed of yourself, and I need you to remove yourself from my table. People
Absolutely.
thought I was so brave, but Kelly, I was like, well, wait, what? No one
More
was going to say anything. You know what they said to me? He's been like that. I said, so how many children has he raped in this time period? I
mm,
need us to. So here's what I'm trying to say. When you see something, say
say
something. I don't
something.
care if they came up, sucked at Jesus' feet. If you see something, say
Say
something.
something. Absolutely. Because the children more often than not won't. Our
They will
spiritual
not.
discernment eyes need to be sharpened. We
Yes.
need to be on more alert. We need to see what we see and acknowledge that that's exactly what it is. And then, as you said, say something about it.
Yes.
Discernment is key. Absolutely. You know when something isn't right. You can tell, I can tell if something is off with my kid. She's sleeping more often than
Come
normal.
on.
She doesn't
He
want to
doesn't want to go to right.
She doesn't want to go. Why don't you want to go? I just don't want to go anymore.
Yes.
Why don't you want
Then
to go?
don't force them to go. Let
And
them stay. Even if it's you, even if the child says, I don't want to go to grandma right now, that's fine. Let the
right,
child stay home. There
let
might be
her stay
something the child
home.
I don't understand. Laverne says, I do think background checks should be universal for everyone working and volunteering. Yes, but it often misses because in ministry, we don't report. We don't report that so and so has been molested by such and such and such and such. We
Yes,
just don't report it.
but what it does do, you have to do a fingerprint. They're in the system.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you reach a point that initially they're clean, that
Mm-hmm.
confirmation of their fingerprints in the system, God
Mm-hmm.
forbid if something does happen,
Yes.
it's a quicker process to catch them.
Yes, because Alexandra says it was a background check that confirmed what someone felt was off about a member. It came back he was a sexual offender against children and his wife didn't know about
Wow.
it. Right?
Wow.
The issue, another part of the issue is that we must, people like me who are in, reporting the news and having these must have conversations, open, honest
Oh, you got to go
conversations about it.
back upstairs with that music.
Right? It has to be an open conversation. I can't tell you how many times people call me and says, you can't talk about DHS and what they're doing to children. You can't talk about the pastor, so and so and so and so. Well, listen, they only one God I serve, right? And I
Right.
may not be popular, but we have to be brave enough. Without courage, we cannot participate in any of the other things that are going on around us.
You
If you're
can't.
afraid to talk about these things, then what's the purpose? What's the purpose?
What's the purpose? But I think so let's talk about some low-hanging fruit. What are some of the things that we can do
Yes.
immediately? Um, of course, the scripture says, cry loud and spare not, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing right now is opening at least the channels of communication.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that um, continuously availing ourselves to having these very difficult conversations
Mm-hmm.
are things that we can do. Low hanging fruit. Connecting again with organizations that specialize in this. Low hanging
Mm-hmm.
fruit things that we can do. But more importantly, the relationships that we have with our pastors is
Mm-hmm.
having is being able to say, okay, how can we begin to mitigate this issue that
Mm-hmm.
clearly is impacting all of our ministries? What can we do?
Mm-hmm.
Even if we start having these open forums, is having these
Yes.
conversations. I think we have to keep having conversations, but more importantly, I think we need to stop just talking and start
Mm-hmm.
implementing some systems in place,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
as I keep thinking about the idea of this hotline, I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely think that's something that we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be
Okay. So the
something.
hotline.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a forget me not.
For
My daughter
reporting.
worked there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they specialize in at-risk children, at-risk youth,
Mm-hmm.
right? Do they have a line there that we can call if there's
Mm-hmm.
something that's happening, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, are there other, shelters or institutions that outside of even DHS, because DHS has their own
Yes.
level web of challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And then talk, because you have a voice and you have a platform, talking with pastors to say, hey, what do you think about a hotline for people that if they
Yeah.
have
Mm-hmm.
issues, if
Mm-hmm.
they've been dealing with, not necessarily just in our church, just overall
Mm-hmm.
in their
Mm-hmm.
life, that they can
Mm-hmm.
anonymously call and say, I've
Mm-hmm.
had this problem,
Mm-hmm.
right? This has happened to me. I believe this happened to my child. Start
Mm-hmm.
taking those steps and starting to
Mm-hmm.
document that these things are actually happening,
Yes.
right?
Agreed. And in addition to that, because we're going to run into some pastors who say, no, we just pray and let it go and let God handle it and will
Yep.
not give the hotline. So then in addition to that, I'd like to add that the district attorney's office also has a hotline, and Women Against Rape and Abuse War, they have a hotline. So if your church won't believe you and you feel like you need some support and some help, you go to those two places. And I'm sure there are other places where you can report anonymously, and then let them take over and call and say, we got a report. Don't name the child, don't name the family. We got a report. We need you to come in and have a conversation with us. Because if the church will not handle it on the inside, we need the district attorney's office to handle it on the outside. right? We need
Absolutely.
outside institutions that will then turn the stuff over to the district attorney's office and say, this was reported to us. Can you walk us through what do we need to do next? Because I think we need to take it out of the hands of the churches, because as we can see, for decades upon decades upon decades, we've had so much trauma visited upon children, women and boys. I'm thinking of one church in Philadelphia right now that I will not name, I've spoken to about 25 young people who said they were groomed and abused by the
My God.
pastor.
Mm.
So if I'm talking to 25, and I mean traumatized over the years, how many more do we not know about?
And I think another thing, and I don't know why I keep hearing this, another thing that has happened in our church is there used to be a time where there were checks and balances, where the deacons and the deaconess held the pastor accountable, right? And the trustees and the deacons and the deaconesses all met and they determined what was the best path going forward
Yes,
when the pastor was out of order.
yes,
They've been stripped of that
yes, of that
responsibility, of
power.
that
Yes.
role, of that
Hmm.
power.
Hmm.
And I remember so clearly, when I was in that situation, and once that power kind of goes up the ranks and they become prominent, the deacons and the deaconesses, they just kind of acquiesce to whatever they say. They lose their power. And that was never the purpose of them being in the church, being a part of the ministry. I could not go to them and tell them what happened, even though they wanted me to stand there and tell them, because I knew nothing was going to happen.
Wow.
So
Wow.
there are supposed to be systems within our ministry, the governing body that is supposed to protect, shield, and provide that conduit to ensure these things don't happen. But they've been stripped of their power.
Yeah.
So there's so many things. We have to kind of go back to the basics
Yes.
of how God intended the church to be and how he intended it to
Absolutely.
run,
Right.
for
Right.
us to really put in place some things within our body, within the church, that can help heal these kids, heal
Yes.
these women.
Yeah.
And
Pastor
you're
Chappelle.
right. And some of that is because some of the deacons and deaconesses are out of order too. It's a mess. It's a hot mess. You're absolutely right.
Mm.
And it's a shame.
Um, Laverne says, name it, Andrea. I'm sorry. Is not naming it a part of the problem, or is that is done to protect the victims? I'm protecting the victims, and I'm turning over some of the stuff now to the folks that I know at the district attorney's office. And quite frankly, we've been talking about this, but the victims don't want to come forward. They're afraid, that they've been told that if they do this, they will be harmed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And these are now adults, Pastor Chappelle, that are just, when I tell you, they're out here looking like you and I, trying to live their lives, but the trauma that they've experienced. So I also have to be mindful, Laverne, that when I make an allegation that it is backed up by what is going on, that there are things happening in the law, so that I can deal with this. Because as an organization, I'm not going to get sued because I know something that I can factually talk
Right.
about until we have all the ducks and the pieces in place, if that makes sense to you. So all of this, I can't move from my emotion. I have to move from what I know is, iron signed, sealed, and delivered. So that's what we're working on at this point. But we just have to, we have to. And I can't tell you how many times, Pastor Chappelle, a little 5-year-old girl came across the street and told me her stepfather was touching her. The mother made her change her mind. So families have, in reporting, I called, I reported all the things. The father, came back, the stepfather came back. And so she grew up to be someone who was incredibly troubled, because
Right.
mom said she needed dad in the house to make
Right.
sure that she could pay the bills. Let's
Right.
talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's have the necessary conversations here. It's
Right.
important.
And,
I think with the
even if we can
churches,
save all, we can absolutely save some.
yes, we can save some.
Mhm.
We can save some. You're
We can
absolutely
save
correct.
some.
If someone want to reach you, how can they? Oh, did you see this comment? We also need to recognize that females in the church also groom children as well. A small rub on the
Absolutely.
back can lead to other things. That's a major
Absolutely.
problem.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's more, of course, more prevalent with the males because they've been the dominant
Yeah.
structure, leadership structure.
Yep.
But you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It goes both ways
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
because perversion doesn't have a gender.
Come on.
It's not gender
Let's talk
specific.
about it. Pastor Chappelle, can you tell people how, if they can reach you if they want to?
Sure. Well, I'm on Facebook, Pastor Kelly Chappelle. Our church is the Lighthouse Ministry in Pennsylvania. We
Mhm.
will be in a new building, prayerfully, hopefully, with in the next 2 months at 3416 Allegheny Avenue. But feel free to look us up at any time.
Yeah, thank you. So I cannot appreciate you more. Thank you. What is a sensitive topic and a sensitive time for so many is
Absolutely.
one that you dealt with so beautifully this morning.
I did.
And I really, truly appreciate this conversation with you. I
Uh,
wish you well. I wish your ministry well. I'm sure our dialogue has not been a popular one for a lot of people, but guess what? They'll live. They will
they'll be all
absolutely live. They'll be all right.
right. And then they
Thank you
have to
so
ask
much.
themselves, why wasn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
I
Yes,
think we
ma'am.
need to continue the dialogue. I think there are things that we
Yes.
can do collaboratively, and
Yes,
see where the
ma'am.
Lord takes it. I
Yes.
can't rest anymore. I can't let it go. I can't,
Yes.
just sit back and keep my own little
Mhm.
secret.
Yeah.
I'm on a mission. I'm out the box, and
Yeah.
so if you're listening and you feel as if
Mhm.
you can't talk to anyone about it, you've been
Mhm.
carrying this burden for a long time. Feel free to
Mhm.
reach out to me,
Amen.
please.
Amen.
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 Did you say how they could reach out to you? Facebook, Pastor Kelly Chappelle?
Kelly Chappelle.
Kelly Chappelle. Kelly Chappelle
Mhm.
on Facebook.
Instagram,
Okay.
Facebook, yes, Kelly Chappelle.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a
My
great morning.
pleasure. You too. God bless.
Bye bye. Ooh, ooh, my neck. I pulled a muscle in my neck and the thing was just delivered. So I'm gonna get back on that. It it takes a lot of courage to speak about things that folks don't want to discuss. It does, right? And people are, yeah, I can't believe, yeah, yeah. Well, we're talking about the lives of others here. And here's the deal. I keep saying we keep expecting perfection from people. Remember, pastors are humans too, and so they have the same proclivities, the same human tendencies, etc. And that's okay. There are just certain roles you cannot be in with those proclivities. How about that? That's the conversation. Um, Jacinia says, as a person who that used to work with sex offenders, some of the abusers have been abused themselves. Absolutely. In a good percentage of the cases, yes. It doesn't excuse the behaviors though. So we have to continue to try and protect children. There are too many walking wounded as adults who are just they can't stay in relationships. They can't do this, they can't do that. It's terrible out here. Terrible, terrible, terrible. And every day that I think about it, I want to just thank my father even more just about the way he protected my sisters and I. So many people can't say that. So many people have been touched inappropriately by adults that they're supposed to care for. I got to get off this here. It's almost 9 o'clock. Marguerite says, thank you for an amazing show. All three of your guest segments were fire. Thank you. Thank you so, 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 so much. I am appreciative that you're all on here listening every morning. I don't take it for granted. Please subscribe and like to the different channels. YouTube, A Lawful Truth Enterprises 312, Facebook, Divine Mother Diva. We are also broadcasting live from Riverside. So all my, if it never shows up on YouTube and on Facebook, I broadcast live here and it's all archived. So yeah, that part. This episode of Mornings with Martha is officially over. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you when I see you. Bye, everybody. Bye.